how's it going out there in OTE land? So WWD, I don't want people to know who you are at first. You're supposed to be a surprise guest to the show, but I wanted to just ask you how you been, man. Pretty good. I think your mic is muted right now. Mike's still on mute right now. All right. WWD, if you are there, I think you have to unmute yourself and then we can talk for a bit. There you go. How you doing, man? Can you hear me? Loud and clear, kind of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can barely hear you a little bit.
You're coming in and out.
Okay, it may be your end though, on your end of the phone.
That part.
If you're on your phone, or I don't know what you're on or what platform or. Can you hear me now? A little bit. I don't know if you're on a laptop or a phone, but if you can, laptop would be good. But also phone would be great too, because we just need your voice. That's it. Audible still not coming in yet. Hey, how's it going, Petros?
What's up, Marte?
How's it going, man? We're waiting for Vic. He's gonna rein in the cavalry, and then he's gonna show up in a minute.
Sounds good to me, man.
So our surprise guest is gonna show up. I'm gonna let you guys know who this is. You guys are in for a real treat. I didn't want to tell you guys who it was, but you guys are gonna find out. Petros, you're gonna like this as well too, and Kewl Vic too.
All right.
Amazing that I can get this guy on. Gonna be a pretty good time had for all, but this is the collab you've been asking for, right? To some degree, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not sure who. I mean, I don't know who you're having on, but yeah, man. I'm always up to talk to anybody who agrees with me, disagrees with me. I'm down to go at it with a feminist, with whoever, man. So,
all right, you're ready to get in the ring. I see. Okay. Hey, I just wanted to tackle some tech issues before we start the show. I know that we've already started the show. Usually we do this before we get on board, but I just wanted to start this already. We weren't supposed to start till 5 minutes from now, but just to get this out of the way, how's my audio? Can you hear me loud and clear?
You're coming in fine to me. I can hear you fine.
I can hear you fine as well too.
Yeah.
Now our surprise guest is going to be back on in just a few. I want to wait till Vic shows up before I roll out the intro and do everything else. So, all right, I don't want to get into the main topics that we're going to get into, but how you been, man? Pretty good?
I've been good, man. I've been really good. It just, dude, when I saw that you had messaged me on Thanksgiving, man, I was like, oh, man, because I remember, in the video I talked about how about a month and a half ago when you sent me the link, you were live streaming, and I was like, man, I this is why I made this channel, so that I could start engaging and start networking with people who agree with me and all this stuff. And I got this guy Marte here who, he's become a serious online debater and a contender. And, he's asking me to, join the stream, and I can't do it. I'm sitting here, I was sitting in my work van. So, and then when I saw that you messaged me, I was like, I got to make a video, man. I got to make a video, and I got to start actually getting consistent with my uploads and making content, and actually starting to set up frequent, debates with people, and just getting more comfortable with debating. I know, like, one thing I wanted to ask you, and then, I'm not sure exactly what you have planned for the show, but one of the things I want to ask you, and then, obviously Vic can put his 2 cents in, but how are you guys able to, how do you motherfuckers do it, man? How do you guys find the time? Like, for example, you'll go on and you'll agree to a debate, and it'll end up being like this. Hey, here he is.
Okay, I know you're on a little bit of a monologue right now.
Yeah, go. That's fine.
You have the Kewl verse there with you.
Yes, I do. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure this out really fast. He could keep monologuing for a second. I'll be
Shout
right
out
back.
to the Kewl verse, by the way. We're going to let you set up. The Aftermath, I guess I'm still setting up as well, too.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how you guys do it, man, where you'll agree to a debate and it'll end up being like an 8-hour stream. And I'm like, how do you plan for this? Because I can always set aside, a 2-3 hour block where it's like, okay, I'm going to be streaming, I'm going to be doing the debate. But then it ends up being like an 8-hour stream. And like, Marte, I know like you're in school, right? You're going to school currently. And I'm sure, you have a lot of other stuff going on in your life. Like, how do you guys actually make the time and like you guys, because I mean, cool Vic, like I see you too, man. You're constantly on here, constantly streaming, and it's like, how do you guys do it?
Well, before we answer those questions, Vic, I just want to know, is everything set up on your end?
I'm gonna double. Yeah.
The audio's good
now. Okay, audio's good. Yeah, let me just. My only concern, I'm just seeing if it's broadcasting to my channel or not.
I can check on that if you want.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Actually, yeah, no, it's actually not. Okay, let me, because this is my first time I'm trying on ABS.
OBS?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay, look, I'm just gonna tell my people. Go to Marte's stream right now. All right, everybody. I'm going to end the stream. Go to Marte's stream, everybody.
And then what I can do is I can send a raid back over to his or Andrew or whoever else is live too. But so here's the stipulation. If you're going to go to my stream, you can only do that if you're subscribed to Kewl Vic's stream. We don't deal with like outside people claiming that they're inside people and saying that they're going to tune in. No, that's the charge. It's free of charge. Just hit the subscribe button to Kewl Vic's channel. You can't go over to my stream unless you're subscribed to his. That's the deal. Capiche? We got this, chat. That's what I wanted to say. That's it.
Okay. All right. So, am I here twice now? What the hell? All right.
I mean, which one do you want? The second Vic or the first one?
I think this one's fine. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll leave your doppelganger in the back. Okay. All right.
We're good.
And there can only be one. Are you streaming on your end too?
No, I just ended the stream on mine because I'm still trying to figure out how to do it where you go on other people's streams and then your audience can see it. I still haven't. Oh wait, hold on. Stream to my audience?
Yeah, there you go. Here we go, Vic.
All right. You might be able to do this after all.
Let's go. Kewl verse.
All right. Once I figure this out, then we'll be good to go. Sorry about
LFG.
This, guys, by the way.
Yes. Let's freaking go.
All right.
Once you're ready, we're going to roll the title out, the intro, and then we have a special guest for both of you. This is a good special guest. This isn't like
We're good.
Oh, you got the vertical screen on. Let me
you can hide that if you want, yeah.
I'm gonna hide it on my end. But maybe I'll display it, but so okay, I want to make sure that Aftermath is your audio, visual good, all that stuff.
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine. As long as you guys can hear me, we're good.
Loud and clear. Vic, how am I doing on my end? Good?
Yep, I can hear you. Both you guys, see you guys loud and clear.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the official podcast of Woke Autopsy. I just wanted to feel like in the boxing ring because here's the thing, though. When I forgot his name, Bruce Buffer's in the ring. Let's get ready to, and this is what debate's going to happen. Speaking of which, I'm alluding to our special guest that's going to show up as we begin this podcast. It's going to be really interesting time for us. So we have on our panel Vic. Please introduce yourself to my audience and Aftermath's audience as well too, where they can find you as well.
Yes, well, I am Kewl Vic, and I have my YouTube channel, also Kewl Vic. That's where you could find me. That's where my main place where I stream and I upload videos every single day. And I'm also on X too, Kewl Vic as well. Kewl Vic, Vic is spelled V1c, by the way.
V1c. All right. We already know each other. We go back a little bit, just a skosh. Anyways, so Aftermath, who are you and where can the people find you out there in YouTube land and everywhere else in social media?
Yeah, my name is Petros. I run a YouTube channel called The Aftermath where I basically do very similar content. It's mainly a debate channel, but I'd like to host debates eventually, and I do reaction videos and very similar content, and just fighting feminism for all of the pro-patriarchists and Christian advocates. And yeah, I'm on Rumble as well. You can find me on Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, but mainly I upload on YouTube and also on Rumble. So, and Vic, I saw you're live on Rumble right now, so that's really cool.
Yeah, well, I was, but since the joining the Marte, I would have had to set up a whole new stream on Rumble. So I'm not currently live on Rumble, but I usually am when I am streaming on here.
Okay. I got the notification on my phone. I was like, oh, okay, he's streaming on Rumble too. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about doing. I think I need to join Rumble as well too. I haven't yet done that, but that's like the next step. I know, loser move from my part, but in no time I'm gonna be joining the Rumble space in no time. Just like the Kewl verse, you never want to get sent into the anal verse. Legend has it, Aftermath. You don't want to get sent into that. That's a bad place. That's the no place.
Yeah. That's we the anal verse. I like that.
Not sure if you're familiar with that. Yeah, that's.
I'm very familiar. If we're talking about a certain moderator, a certain female moderator.
Oh wow! You're really going to conflate that issue. Okay, well. This is the first episode of the Woke Autopsy, and I know that we had some contention a little bit, that I heard a little bit from Aftermath saying that I think that you were averse to bodybuilding a little bit, maybe in some segments or something like that, but we're also going to talk about the future of debate, where debate is going, if debate is doing anything for society socially, and also we're going to go into Kewl Vic's lore a little bit, because I do want to hear about how he got started, what his motivation was, because I looked up one day and I saw Kewl Vic and I was like, who is it? Oh, he's based too. And then next thing you know, he started covering debates, and I'm an avid follower of debates. And then I started tuning into him and I'm like, damn, okay. So that's another vector of which I can continue to subscribe to him and then see my favorite debates without having to go to a certain channel that you're alluding to. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Pleased to meet you, Aftermath. This is Kewl Vic. This guy, Aftermath, you said you were aspiring to get into debates, Aftermath. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done one online debate. I got into online debating because of guys like you, Marte, and guys like Andrew Wilson. He was kind of the main, because I found out about Andrew through Red Pill content creators. Right, the first time I saw him was on Whatever, and then I happened to see that he was streaming live one time on YouTube, and I started looking at his content. I was like, man, this guy's the man. And I loved, what he was saying as far as all of his prescriptions and all of, the orthodox version, which is, the true version of Christianity. And so many things made sense to me. So many things clicked, and, found out about Jay Dyer basically as well, and just basically started consuming all his content. And I can't even tell you how many debates I've watched between Andrew, Jay, you, a whole other, just a bunch of other, debaters. And so it was just something that, and I've always been kind of not confrontational, but I like to think that I'm a free thinker. I'd like to think that, I want, I can think outside the box and not kind of, just kind of go along with the status quo. And for years and years, I've just kind of seen the toxicity that feminism has produced in our culture and society, and with young women. I just put out a video today just talking about that, and if we have time, obviously we can kind of get into that. But I think what we're doing, obviously, it's like, we're trying to grow our brand, we're trying to grow our channel, but at the same time, there's a difference between what content creators like us and debaters like us, there's a goal, right? We're truth seekers. We're trying to get to the truth as opposed to just aimlessly, for our own selfish wants and needs, just trying to grow our brand, which is fine. Like, that's, if you want to grow your brand and become a bigger influencer, that's fine. But are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you just doing it for the clout? Or are you doing it to actually find truth? Because any of us here can start a YouTube channel and just start putting out all the status quo, like leftist content, right? Or even moderate, right? Even moderate, conservative, kind of Charlie Kirk. And I hate, bringing him up just because, because he's dead now. But we could all get on and probably do very well. But, that's not what it's about. That's not what's going on in real life. That's not what we're experiencing. We're not seeing this. Oh yeah, there's the conservatives and there's the liberals and they're just trying to figure out. It's like, no, there's something seriously going on with feminism. It has infected both the left and the right. And it's time for us guys to like really wake up and be like, hey, cool it down, lady. Like, cool it down. I think, we're just regular guys. I think that's one thing that we can start doing in the real world, where it's like, we don't need to constantly just like just simping for women and constantly trying to be nice with women when we're not getting that same energy back. And it's okay for us to be pro patriarchy. It's okay to be like, yeah, I think women should prioritize children and marriage from a young age as opposed to pursuing a career and not have it be like this huge backlash.
So okay, give me 1 second. Our surprise guest has already shown up a little bit earlier than expected, but let's introduce him and bring him out. Oh, he left. Okay.
All right.
So, okay, he says it's like the mic is dropping. I can only hear about every third word he's saying. We're going to go ahead and try to fix these audio. Okay, it says, hold on. It says device not connected.
Yeah, see? At least I'm not the only one that's having boomer problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is just... Hold on real quick. Let me ask him to leave and then come back.
Dude, you want to talk about boomer problems? Marte, that last time we tried to do a collab and we weren't able to. I think I figured out what it was. It was my mic here. It's a touch. If I touch it here, it goes red and it mutes.
Oh wait, what mic do you have?
It's a Shure.
That's what I got. I got the Shure mic.
Yeah, do you have the thing where it mutes right here, where you press it and it mutes?
Yeah, that's why I don't touch it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I started researching. It's like, oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, of course, boomer problems for sure. So as soon as the surprise guest shows up, I'm just going to bring him up. I mean, he may be on his phone doing this. And then if he tries to show up again and then it doesn't work, I'm just going to tell you who it is. Like I'd hate to say, oh, it's a surprise, and the guy just doesn't show up. Well, he shows up, but he's having technical issues. But then I'm going to just tell you who it is. Tell you who he is.
Is it Brian Shapiro, the newsboy hat guy that's been feuding with?
Oh, I wish it was him. I would definitely have some things to discuss for sure. Yeah. I have a lot of questions, actually. It's like, that would be good. The guy with the golf hat, whatever that guy.
Yeah, the newsboy hat. Yeah, extra. Read all.
Is that guy Irish? Is he an Irishman, or was he? What was he? British or something?
I don't know.
He's not British or Irish, like in terms of like he's not from there. He doesn't have an accent or anything.
Okay.
But
Because he dresses like a little leprechaun.
Yeah, he does. He really does. So, maybe it's Irish heritage or something. Oh, hey, how's it going, Workademics? Let's see the collectible room. Well, I'm not Coach Greg. I do not have a collectible room. But I do display my collectibles in the master bedroom. I'm not sure if you're supposed to say master bedroom anymore. Isn't that no longer PC? But yeah, that is where I keep my collectibles.
Okay, can you hear us now? Or how's the audio? Okay, Vic, I'm pretty sure you can read who this is.
Yeah, World War Debate. I don't the
World
War Debate. Yeah,
is Andrew
or Word War. Yeah.
Oh, your mic is now off. Now you can speak. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Good. If you can, please introduce yourself and what you do, and do a little promo if you can.
Sure. Well, I'm T. I'm repping World War Debates right now. I'm helping with a lot of promotional stuff, social media management, things like that, getting the word out. World War Debate is obviously the newest premier debate league that we're trying to establish with Vince Swan, and it's being presented by the Enlightenment Network. So we have our first live show at the ACX1 Arena in Atlantic City, right on the boardwalk there, actually, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's connected to Caesar's Palace. The team has come up with an amazing venue. It's really cool, actually. It's like 500,000 square feet of usable space that we're going to be expanding and using a whole bunch of different things in. The debate arena itself is 3 levels, so you'll have your ground floor where the stage is and the ground crowd is and the debaters, and then there's 3 tiers of balconies that surround it in a circle, like a Roman Colosseum, that also people will be watching the debate from. And then we have the VIP after party too. It's great. We just announced a few things today. They've kind of been out there, but now we're finally starting to make the formal announcements on X. Obviously, the independent panelists. So we'll have the debates going on, and then in between debates and breaks, etc., we're going to have it broken down like sideline moderators and analysts, performance analysts. So we have Sam Tripoli's going to be there, and we also have, and we haven't announced it on X yet. It just got updated on the website, so I can say it. But Gavin McInnes will also be.
Oh, I don't know. That just cut off. That wasn't on my end. Gavin McInnes coming up. That's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, I'm pretty blown away. Let me message him again. This is the technical issues that are happening on this end. I don't understand it's not on my end, but
the word war, the word war was really, I was kind of caught off guard by it. It was very out of the blue. I just remember seeing clips of it with Andrew and Sam Tripoli, and that was like I was like, oh, I didn't realize that Andrew and Sam, like, they knew each other and they were like working on this, I guess, behind the scenes. So that was super cool that they announced that just kind of out of the blue. And I think that's going to be a very successful thing. So hopefully, we can all participate in that one day.
Yeah, the thing with Sam Tripoli, everything else, them setting it up, him saying that it's a Coliseum style venue, and then the fact that you can get on the balcony afterwards, the after party. Yeah. They're going to have their own chefs there too. It's not like they're going to have Barl's Pizza there or something else. They're actually going to import chefs there. So this is going to be an amazing venue. I wanted to bring out an amazing surprise guest for the first episode, and I figured that was a pretty amazing guest to bring up, because since we're all involved in debate to some degree, I mean, aspiring is aftermath. I would say aspiring debater. Have you ever done a formal debate yet?
We'll say that again.
Have you ever done a formal debate yet? Aftermath.
Not a formal one. No, I would love to set up a formal debate.
Or not even formal. I asked the wrong question. Have you ever done a moderated debate yet?
No, not moderated. No.
Okay, well, just to let you know, Cool Vic is also moderating now. You're talking to a moderator down there. He would love to host debates, so anybody out there that'd like to host a debate.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have you. So Word War Debate, I know it's a tongue twister, is going to attempt to come back in. And I know that we're probably dying to hear about this new venue. We probably have a lot of questions. That's why I wanted to bring Vic on, so that way his audience can be privy to the future debates, where this is going. And we're going to have a conversation about not only debate in terms of like how it's moving the needle in society, where it's going, our purpose. And also, I just wanted to get some pure Vic lore too out of this, like, just to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Emmett is asking in the chat, how's it going, Emmett, by the way? Aftermath, are you a libertarian?
I would say probably I would say yes, I was a libertarian. I was a secularist, I should say, secularist / libertarian. But I am realizing now that this whole idea of being a secularist, being a libertarian is just nonsense. When you really get down into it, it's like, you got to pick a side, in my opinion. You know, it can't be this like, I'm conservative when it comes to this and that, but then, it's like, no, I am like, I'm an aspiring to be a serious debater, a serious online debater. I'm also in the process of basically being more spiritual, as far as finding my, like what Marte is doing, as far as like, exploring the Orthodox Church and finding a place in the Orthodox Church and eventually becoming a catechumen. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But so, no, I wouldn't say so. I don't think that libertarian is something that is sustainable. It's not. And again, once you really get down to the fundamentals of it, when you get down to the core of it, there's too much contradiction, and you have to pick a side. It's like, I remember watching, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Tim Pool Sam Cedar debate when Tim Pool had Sam Cedar on. That interview, that whole debate was so, I couldn't get through the whole thing because it was so frustrating, because Tim Pool is cool, but Tim Pool is he's not religious from my understanding. He's not like an Orthodox Christian. He's a secularist. And Sam Cedar, obviously secularist, basically an atheist, basically a nihilist, right? And it was like, now when I watch two secularists debating about anything, it's like watching two people try to play chess without a chessboard, right? Because it was so frustrating with that whole thing, because they got into abortion. Once they got into the abortion thing, I tapped out, because it got to the point where Temple was like, so do you think that, we should abort babies? And he goes, yeah, no, we should. It should be allowed, you should be allowed to abort up until 9 months. And then Tim goes, no, that's not right. And then Sam Cedar goes, well, what do you think? What do you think it should be? And he goes, oh, well, I'm not sure. It's like, yeah, of course, because you don't have any fundamental. It's just, again, with secularism and atheism, it always comes down to your preference. And it's things like that really drive people, like free thinkers, I think, like us, where you really start to deep dive and like really give it some critical thought, and you realize, okay, no, you can't play the fence, right? You got to pick a side. Yeah. It's either murder or it's not. God is either real or he's not. There's only one God, and you have to go from there. So
just to let you know, like, we're on YouTube. We have a different form of TOS compared to like Twitter. So I know you're used to being in spaces, but YouTube, the guy with the mustache, the Austrian painter, all that stuff, or not Austrian, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those words. YouTube is really crazy with the language here and tone policing as far as words are concerned. But so I just got word from Word War Debate, pun not even intended, but he said we're going to have to reschedule because of the tech issues and everything else. I did have a conversation with him before in depth about all this other stuff, and we talked about this. I said I'd like to be in a future World War Debate. He said, you got the chops, and I said, well, that massive compliment automatically. I'd love to be a competitor there, because when I think about competition, I think about sports, and to me, I think that that's like a form of UFC. That, I mean, just like UFC, there's a venue. People can come there IRL and see their favorite fighters, so to speak. And I think when you're doing that, you can have teams. He talked about the team aspect of teams showing up, and then like money not being the thing that decides everything. Meaning, like, if we have a team that has all the money showing up, hopefully I'm not going to do an injustice to what he said, but a money team shows up. They got all this backing. They got team jackets. And then I got a low budget team, but we're just good debaters. And we beat their asses. Well, we beat their asses no matter what. And money's not in anybody's pockets. It's more like, you know, if we look at this, it's like more unbiased. If we look at this, the judging criteria, there's different gold standard when it comes to debating. And not to mention this, but it's a great venue where everybody else can shake hands after you tear each other apart, have a beer with each other and talk. And it's a good old time to be had by all, you know, bring friends, family and all that. And I think it's a great venue and a great idea brought up by this guy, World War Debate, and Sam Tripoli, and Andrew Wilson being involved is awesome too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I've been saying that it's a great idea because it gives smaller like debaters something to kind of strive for. You know, like, oh, I hope one day I could be on World War Debate with such a big audience debating some of the best debaters in the world. And I also do like the concept of being able to talk with them after, like, you know, they're going to be hanging out in that area. So that's also pretty neat too. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, so I don't think that I'm in the first. Obviously, I'm not going to be on the first rung as far as like when they first roll it out. But I want to be like on the second time they have it or something else, because I've been wanting to get on modern day debates. It just so happens that when I have somebody, they either don't have any followers and they want to debate something, and that's something that he's talked about. He said, well, you know, you have pseudo fame, but the other person, they're like a nobody. And we want to bring an audience where people want to see both people. And to me, I can understand that. World War Debate, I don't know. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask him. Like, do they have to be big names to get on stage? Do they have to, and are there different tier levels? Like, we were going to get into all that because I have a ton of, I'm sure you do as well too, Vic, a ton of questions. And I think that this is very edifying for our audiences to find out where the future of debate's going. And that's a conversation. So I think that he would have been a great integral part of this conversation, especially if they're rolling out such a great venue. And this is a whole different dynamic when it comes to debates, especially when you're holding a different standard. That's good. The gold standard, as they say. Like, I think that this would be a good venue for everybody.
Yeah. Marte, do you know, sorry to cut you off, Vic. So do you know, is this going to be like an annual thing, or is it just like that venue is like they have that and it's going to be like all year round, or do you know any information about that?
No, that's why, because here's the thing though, it's good to always get it from the horse's mouth instead of just through me secondhand, because hopefully I didn't butcher anything he said. I'm just trying to like recall the best that I can when I did have a verbal conversation with him. But that's why I want to bring him on. Even if we reschedule, I want to ask you guys, if you guys want to get on next time when he shows up, so that way we can get all of our questions answered. If Vic's chat has questions about World War Debate, where this is going, this is not only good promotion, but it's also good knowledge, because obviously we only got the video in certain segments. So there's a lot of questions and a lot of context that we don't know about. Obviously, Aftermath, you're asking about the different levels, things like this. These are all questions that we have. And I have questions as well too. These are always good. And I think that if we can get these questions answered by the main person instead of people like me who are filters, it's a game of telephone. But that's why I wanted to get the main people involved. Okay, here we go. All right, back. Hopefully it doesn't cut out. Here we go. Massive W, because you're back in the chat. Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Technology is always fun sometimes. But no, I've been listening offline on the YouTube channel. I was trying to get reconnected. So on this first card, and probably the first card's coming out. You know, we're setting up the debaters right now as we launch out. And but eventually, yes, the idea is, especially coming in on the undercards, that as the network grows and as the league grows, that the up and comers can come take a shot. And then if they're performing well, they do well, then they can move on up. You know, there's a whole thing that we're going to be rolling out throughout this first season as we get the entire league established. But that's the idea. Yeah, we don't want it just to be. We obviously want the big names for traffic, and a lot of people want to hear the representatives of their worldview out there battling. But yeah, the idea is that we can include, in many ways, a lot of the other voices. And also, even at this event, for instance, one of the things that we're going to have is a center, an area in the venue that also has area like 10, 12, 15 different streaming stations, so that even if you're not debating on the main stage, there's other ways to participate, especially for up and coming streamers debaters, content creators, etc. So we are trying to incorporate that in as we grow and scale.
All right, yeah, yeah, because it looks like, yeah, because right now the first event, obviously, it's going to be the first event, so it looks like there's going to be a lot of big names, but I'm thinking like in the future, like, is it going to look like how kind of like how either like a boxing event or MMA or even a wrestling event where it's like you could have like the openers, like the smaller time debaters kind of open the show, and then as it makes its way up the card, that the names kind of get bigger and bigger.
Yes, absolutely. So as we have it right now, we have a three-tier set, like a tier setup. So we have the undercards, then we have the prime showcase or prime undercard. Then we have the main event. So typically, obviously, the main event will be reserved for the powerhouses, a lot of names that people will recognize. Then the undercard, and then the first tier will be, as we go forward, we're going to try and incorporate as many more independent voices and up and comers as we can. A lot of those things are being determined as we're watching. We're scouts right now. We have scouts out watching streams, watching debates, interacting on social media and in forums, etc. Really doing a comprehensive analysis of what the debate market looks like and who the crowd is and who the audience and who the players are, so that we can actually start putting the official rosters together and reaching out to folks. And yeah, the idea to roll them in, and then just because too, and this is kind of unofficial because we're still scaling it out and it's still under development, but the idea would be that you have battle. So even if you say you have a high name person come in, but perhaps he's not necessarily a rostered person of the league, that there's scores, maybe potentially title fights, etc. And that's how we want to structure it.
That's awesome. I guess I have a question right now. So I know that you were saying that there's like different tiers, things like this. So will this be a once a year thing? Will this be like twice a year? Because Aftermath had actually asked this question, but I'm curious as well too.
Yeah. So on this first season, we're going to be having 10 events. Right now, it's scheduled as we have it right now at the current venue. And what we're doing it every 2 months, like an official WW. Like this is WW1 coming up. This is World War I. So throughout this first season, we'll be going through World War events. And then stuff in between probably will be popping up as well. But yeah, so we're going to be doing, at this point, the schedule is every 2 months. We'll be doing a big blowout at the ACX1 Studio Arena.
So I guess my second question that I have for you today is, so I understand that if you are a person and remotely have a conservative view, that can tend to drive away liberal debaters and things like that. So I think that when you do have people on, maybe even helping out promote, like Andrew Wilson, people like that, I think that sometimes liberals may be skittish when it comes to jumping in that arena because they can say like, well, it's probably rigged because Andrew is behind the scenes there too, or judging or doing something like that. What would you say what would you do to go about helping to try to scout for liberal people who are the antithesis of our arguments that we have as conservatives, things like that, to implore them to join in and actually, hold on real quick. My laptop just had something spilled on it, some drinks. Let me go ahead and get that real quick.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I can speak to that. So as the cards start to being announced in the next week, 2 weeks or so, you'll see that we're trying our best to represent the entire spectrum. We are an independent league. So much like the NFL or the NBA or the MLB, we are Switzerland. We want to provide the arena for everyone to come in and bang and defend the worldview and take people on. And so that's really what we want to do. The cards that you start seeing announced, we already have people from across the spectrum. And as the events launch and we gain popularity and people start becoming more aware of what's happening in the debate, we already have like tons of people reaching out. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue, although sometimes for certain political ideology or for subjects, it is hard to find people willing to debate on a stage like that. But at this point, I don't foresee it being a problem. We're already getting inundated with people who want to be involved from all sides of the political spectrum on all sorts of topics, not just politics, technology, medical issues, big pharma, et cetera, and so forth. There's already a ton of interest coming our way. So now it's just about structuring it the way that's going to be the most advantageous in trying to get everyone's voice heard. But we are the neutral platform, much like the MLB or the NBA or the NFL. We want to provide the venue and let the teams bang it out.
That's awesome.
Any international debaters or anything?
Yeah, so we have already been reached out by a whole bunch. So there's folks from the UK, there's folks from some folks have reached out from South America, Middle East, etc. Yeah, I think there's going to be international representation here. And a lot of that too, obviously, we're looking for people that we know are going to sell tickets and are going to put on a good show. But as the league develops, realistically, a lot of this is going to be audience based, which is not something that you typically see. When you watch the NFL or you watch the NBA, you have the performers and you have the audience, and they're separate entities. In this, there's going to be a convergence of those. So obviously, we'll have our panelists and our moderators, but they're not the ones carrying the entire vote outcome. It also relies on audience participation. So there will be ways in which the audience can vote and make their voice heard as spectators of the event that actually engage and potentially change the outcome of things.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
How long has this been in the works? Because I was saying earlier how it just kind of, I just remember seeing the promos for it by Sam Tripoli and Andrew Wilson, and I was like, man, this is like really out of the blue. They had never really, unless I missed something, but how long has this been in the works and been going on?
I think preliminarily the idea has been in development, and we've had the venue for about 4 months as we really structured this out how we want it to be and build it to scale. But I think about 4 months. But now the reason why you're seeing it more now is that we're just now getting ready. We're launching all of our promo stuff. So this is when we enter. We've got the preliminaries of everything that we need. We've got the venue. We've got the setup, the stages, etc. The logistics part is mostly done at least for this first event. And so now we're really hitting the promos. We're getting all the contracts are coming in. They're signed. We can officially announce people. So that's why we're getting the big promo push forward.
That's awesome. I think I like the advertisements that you guys had, like the little. I put one of the promos on my YouTube channel because obviously I'm going to support everything that's promoting debate and good debate. I mean, I'm not talking about like picking sides or anything, but I think generally. The reason why I wanted to bring you on board is because tonight's topic of discussion was going to be about the future of debate, where debate's going, and if debate moves the needle on modern culture, and not to mention that, but our purpose in debate and what we're doing, everything, all things debate tonight. And who else could I bring up better than you? World War debate to talk about this, because this is the future of debate in some parts. If we think about this, the direction that we're moving into looks like arenas like this, and this is really great. And I think that this is good for people that want to propagandize their message to the masses, whether or not it's anti-baby deletion or pro-baby deletion, whatever this is. And I think that right now we're hosting UFC matches that are in the form of verbal combat that are also like chess as well too. I think this is a brilliant move on you guys' part for sure.
Well, yeah, I think it goes without saying pretty much that, and I definitely think that with the decentralization of the information, the dissemination, now anyone can have a voice if they're brave enough to put their face on or their voice on the internet and speak their 2 cents. And those ideas from those people, if they resonate, grow. And I think so. What you're seeing is a natural progression and evolution of those communication methods. And so it's not a question to me that debates and public debates specifically will move the needle. They already are. They already have been. And they will continue to do so as those old media models disappear and are replaced. And so one thing that we wanted to do, obviously the United States specifically, but America has led the way in organized sports with the leagues that I've already mentioned. And so if that's going to be the case, and it's going to be such a big part of American discourse, we need our own league. We need to represent. We need to be the shining beacon on the hill for the rest of the nations of the world and for the constituents of the United States, just so that they have a place to go. They can watch these things take place. We create a community too, not just on the events themselves, but a community that really fosters independent voices. So for so many decades, the narrative has been dominated by, just a few media outlets that get to control what the topics of discussion are, and that's fine. Sometimes they do have good discourse, and it really does help inform people. But at the same time, a lot of those key topics that people really want to talk about or want the details on, they don't get that. And so I think it's just a matter of organic evolution in the communications realm, that now independent discussion and debate, and a lot of trust is gone too. And so having the independent voices and just having a place where they can bang it out long form and not just get 2 or 5 minute snippets of a talking point that they were handed and scripted. People are really craving that. That's why you see the rise of podcasts. That's why you see the rise of debates, independent debates coming in. And so what we want to do is just amplify that as much as possible.
Yeah, I think the purpose of non-tone police conversation is great. Insert like the polarization of like the UK, if we're talking about that dynamic. I don't think that World War Debate could have a team over there by any stretch of the imagination right now if people are being arrested for making memes on the internet and having an opinion. But I think that we could set a trend for the future, maybe not even our generation, so that way people can look at speech, voice, and having an opinion and actually diving through and disseminating these opinions that people have and actually diving deep into it and kind of like understanding like logic is a part of discourse as well too. You can take the emotion out of it, and then occasionally you're gonna have emotion, but it's such a diverse topic to even talk about and comprehensive at the same time too. If we peel all these layers back, you're covering every dynamic, every culture, political discourse, religion, everything, and even historical conversations that have happened since Plato that we can have now on panels, but also the freedom to have these discussions and the forum to do this with referees in the form of judges. I think that this is great. I think that we do need to have a new sport, because this could be like a new sport. I could imagine things like a new debate energy drink coming out and then sponsoring another team, things like this, because obviously if I'm a little sleepy before a debate, I'm going to drink Debate Up or something like that, and some guy's gonna, so the future is wide open when it comes to promotion, people getting in the arena to try to do this, big names, and people wanting to take a shot at big names. This gives me so much hope as a debater that does want to grow my channel, and I'm pretty sure Aftermath and Kewl Vic and everybody else who's watching right now, this is fantastic content that we're going to have right now to inform the masses of what's to come. But that's the question that I have, is like, do you think that we could have World War Debate spread in different nations, where we have like a Brazil team, maybe a Russia team, even things like that?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you've been talking to our merchandise teams or but yes, 100%, absolutely. I'll look into the That's pretty funny. But no, absolutely. We already are getting reached out by other countries who want to do this, and whether that means that they have to travel in order to do on U.S. soil, then that's fine for now. But yeah, I do foresee regional, we're talking to colleges. There's the collegiate level, the college level debaters that want to come in. There's independents. There's people who are, all over the world that are interested in this. And I do think it's going to set a trend, and they'll come, those folks that we can work with in their country, long term, maybe not this potentially in the season or maybe by the end, but long term, yes, for sure. I definitely think you will see representation from other countries coming in.
Yeah, I think it's going to blow up, to be honest. I think that once it gets going, once they have a couple of big name, and Marte, I know you said, we're going to get into this, later on once we actually start, but I think the future of, I think debate is the future of YouTube and this culture war, because it already, in my opinion, I think it already kind of has taken over this whole idea of just having, and people love it. People love it. I know I do. When I see two people who I've been wanting to see debate, I see it pop up on YouTube, somebody's moderating, I click on it right away, because people want to see this. I think people are done with just having, some leftist or somebody like a conservative on their YouTube channel. They'll make a YouTube channel, they'll make a YouTube video and talk and just go off on a topic, uncontested. Nobody's challenging them. And, more and more channels I've noticed over these past several months, all of the major, even like Piers Morgan, right? Like somebody like Piers Morgan just had Fuentes on. These debates, I think, are the future. They are the future of online, the online, whatever you want to call it, the online drama world, the online, political and culture sphere. I think that it's only going to get bigger, and I think word war is going to, modern day debate obviously is huge, and I think that word war is just it's gonna blow up in a matter of no time.
Yeah, I absolutely. There is a giant market for it. It's really obvious, especially if you look at data, that this is the direction of discourse. It's just not a
Yeah.
question. So outside of institutional censorship, etc., which is also why it's important, um, we want to provide that. We want to encourage it. The idea of free speech, free discourse, battling it out, not canned, scripted talking points, stuff like that. Getting to the nitty gritty of issues, being able to confront or counter, give counterpoints to people's points is so important, and that's why we're really stoked about it. And with the lineup that you see coming in, that you'll see for these first few events, I think you'll see that we have navigated the political spectrum pretty well. And some topics maybe aren't super political on their face. For instance, artificial intelligence, et cetera, and so forth. There's a whole bunch of topics that people want to talk to, insiders on, and people who understand really what's going on and get the scoop, and also go back and forth. And so I think we'll be able to cover a variety of topics with names that everyone is familiar with, and you'll be able to also see them in a format in which many of them have never been seen before. You get a lot of these folks, and even if they do long form podcasts, a lot of them, you haven't really been able to see them under the lights giving a confrontational debate with someone who adamantly disagrees with them. And so even for names and faces that you've seen before and whose content you've consumed before, I think it's good because you'll get to see another aspect of their personality and also how they handle pressure, how they handle pushback, their rebuttals, etc. So I really do think it'll give people too another glimpse into a lot of these people and the names, and get to know a different side of them, especially under pressure.
So I have two questions real quick. So in the realm of this, it's inevitable. I know one of the chatters, Darth Maul, says something like, is there a potential to get political candidates on the stage in the future? I'm guessing you're probably going to say yes to this. Another thing, too, the other question, I know I'm hitting you with a lot of questions right now, but I was recently on Jubilee, and me and Vic understand this very well. We can get like a channel strike or a copyright strike if we repost their videos. And if we're talking about free speech, it's not really that free if they're striking your channel, you get a copyright strike. Where are you going to be airing this? Will you have your own channel to air this at? And will we be able to like show our own content on our own channel without getting copyright strikes?
I can't give all the details out yet, but you'll see
Okay.
in the next probably week or 2 weeks, probably you'll see an update on exactly where the main channels are being broadcast. But we don't anticipate, contractually, we don't anticipate any issues on our end. Now, I can't say if you guys clip stuff up and depending on what the subject matters and you post it on the other platforms, I can't guarantee, that what the other platforms will do. But as far as our content is concerned, it will be full send.
Yeah, I had to ask that because the other entailment of the question that I also wanted to kind of ask was like, so if I'm a debater and I happen to be on World War Debate and I had a great debate, whether or not I got my ass kicked, whatever that is, that's neither here nor there, and I reposted only my segment, would you guys copyright strike me at all or anything like that?
No. So obviously,
That's
a
good.
part of this and a part of the decentralization, we'll have an official stream, that we're putting out. That's ours. That goes to the whatever the broadcasters are that have contractually picked that up. But then the whole idea of the decentralization of information anyway, and we're relying on it as part of the marketing plan, is to hit it social media to people, to have them promote themselves, to have them promote the shows and the clips. Go for it. That's really what we want. And so, as far as I'm concerned, from the WWD side of things, no, that's not going to be an issue. There's going to be, now, depending on the structure of each event, and each event may be a little bit different. I know we have entertained pay-per-view models, which means that, and I can't say for sure that's going to be the case on this event, but I do know that has been in the works for certain aspects of things, meaning that it will be broadcast exclusively to one channel, to one platform, and then from there, though, people do what they do, but our internal exclusive stream goes one place. Then what people do with it after that is their stuff.
I like that.
It looks like you're on Rumble too.
Yeah, it's very funny because your name is WWD and it sounds like WWE, and Vic used to be a wrestling promoter and you're right next to him. So just wanted to say that real quick. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, it's just coincidental, I promise. Even though we are promoting a combative form of entertainment, but that's just coincidental, But also at the same time, I think the similarity will help people because everyone knows what the WWE is or WWE, but they don't, even if they don't watch them, they know what that is, and we'd like to be a brand staple in the minds of Americans, and so if we ever got to that level, that would be wonderful.
On that same topic, how will the presentation be like in terms of the show aspect? Like, will there be like, not like full on wrestling entrances, but even like UFC, they have their own entrances and introductions. Is it going to be something like that?
I can't give away all the secret sauce, but yeah, it'll be good. We have a very high end production crew, like the production crew that we're working with the Enlightenment Network, etc. They make films, they make movies, they make shows. So this is fully produced. We're not talking one camera, we're talking 16. And we will have, all sorts of fun things for our debaters to enter to, exit to, some certain things that you wouldn't see in a standard debate, more like a fight, corners, etc., coaches, teams, different things going on that we can incorporate that really bring a different facet to the debate sphere.
This is exciting. I like the fact that, you're not going to tell us right away, but the fact that we're having this conversation that there could be like ring entrances with, fog coming out and like all this and like lights and all that. Pyro. Like to me, yes. And that's what I was thinking about in terms of, I also wanted to bring Vic into the conversation and kind of tie this in with wrestling. But that's the thing though, is I think that this is a very integral part of this because I think that we live in a society with a very short attention span. It's like how many people read these days? Our comprehension's at an 8th grade level. We like to see short clips and people clip people out of context. But I think a production level of long form content would probably like at least an hour debate, things like this with an introduction, good showmanship, I think can bring people in to an arena where they're introduced to logical conversation, or maybe people being debunked in real time and getting exposed in real time. If you're not really a good debater, guess what's going to happen? ChatGPT and Grok is not in your corner. It's your kryptonite now, and you're going to be exposed in real time. And I think that if you do get on the stage, I think this is good. Not only is this good for exposure, but also people are going to really have to get their have real chops for this whole act. Or even if it's not act, they're going to have to be the real deal on stage to some degree, right?
That's the idea. A lot of people can defend their worldviews in 2 and 5 second or 2 and 5 minute, TV hits, but the long form hour and a half with an intellectual on the other side picking you apart is a whole different game. And to answer your question, there's fire in our logo, and there will be definitely some fire around the ring. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna do it up. We do want the central core is intellectual debate, but at the same time we do want to put on just a really engrossing show for people, and that requires some entertainment. And why not? Let's make it fun. It's America. Let's do it up. Let's show people exactly what's possible and how it can be done.
I have another question. What's the possibilities? Like, will we see things like maybe special guest moderators, like Piers Morgan, for instance, because he moderates on his show, or even like, let's say, a Joe Rogan or something like that, like things of that nature? Will we see things like that?
I can't confirm or deny those two names specifically, but yes, that would be the idea. In fact, we'll probably have a rotating crew of people coming in and out. We'll have some staple, some people who are the residents who are staples, and then I do foresee some cycling through, and at least one of those names is already in talks and stuff. I'll just give you that. How about that?
Nice. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like the venue. I like how everything sounds. I'm glad we were able to have you on and roll this out. But that's the thing, though. I had so many questions. So I heard that there was a poll you're doing as far as like questions and prompts and things like that. Are you guys still getting a tally and kind of like a surplus of prompts to say, okay, these are the prompts as far as theology. We're going to do probably like cultural debates as far as like race, things like that. And are you guys like doing polls as far as like collecting data as far as like prompts and everything else right now for that still?
Yeah, so absolutely. So if you go to X at Word War Debate on X, we've been running polls and we'll continue to be running polls. It'll be kind of a staple of both our marketing and also our outreach and our program development. Because we can get up there. It's not difficult to pay someone to come on the show and they have a specific talking point that the audience has no part in, and then we put it out, and it's this that's what a lot of content creators do, or that's what a lot of media that people consume is based around. However, because of the audience participation in this league specifically, we need to do that. We need to be able to see and put out polls to determine, is this something that our fans are really interested in, and not just something that is a talking point, a current media dominated talking point for whatever reason. Is this actually something that people are interested in? So yeah, we've been running polls on our social media. We will continue to do so on certain topics regarding certain subjects or debaters, personalities, etc. Because it really kind of helps us keep our pulse on what the fans want.
Okay. He's
He's
entered
down
the studio
again.
again.
Oh,
Okay,
all
you're
right, he's
back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You're good.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, so we will be running the polls. It really helps us keep our finger on the pulse of what the fans and the audience wants to see, what prompts they want to see, what debaters they want to see, and so we're taking that data in live. And as it comes in, we have, we're putting it all together on a board. I'm analyzing it so that when we get debaters coming in, like, okay, here's this person, he's willing to participate. What prompts? Well, the audience has, 48% of the audience, or 100% of the audience, or 78% of the audience really wants to see this specific topic with this specific person, and we can really start putting those cards together in a way that the audience wants to see them.
Yeah, I think this is good. I can just imagine promotional advertisements that are kind of dramatized a little bit for dramatic flair, like a theatrical release of like World War III that's coming out, and then the people that are showing up, and maybe even like mystery guest round that shows up for the final round for one of the big heavy hitters. Like, and I know that sometimes when people go on Piers Morgan, they don't know who's going to show up for the panel. So I have this question as well too. Will you guys have like different ideas presented to where it's like there's a big heavy hitter showing up and they don't care who shows up, they'll debate anybody, and it ends up being another mysterious heavy hitter and shows up, and things like this? I'm just curious for how dynamic this is. Will that be in the fray as well?
I think you'll find that we have created a bunch of creative and innovative ways in which to incorporate certain principles, similar to what you're talking about. There's a whole host of things, specifically from the entertainment side, that people have tried and rolled out and created, beta models for, that we can really look into. That, yeah, there's a whole bunch of creative and fun ways that we can incorporate some of that stuff to keep people on their toes and really give people a good show. Absolutely.
Now, I heard
on that note too, I was going to say on that note, when we were talking about the polls earlier, on X, for instance, we can't be everywhere at once. I can't be everywhere at once. So one thing that I'm telling everyone to do, that we've been posting on X, if you're on X and you see a debate, or there's a debate live going on somewhere, or there's a conversation, if you tag us at Word War Debate in the comments, then we can see that and we can jump in and we can run live polls on those debates as they're happening, or specifically hit certain topics. So you guys get to call it out. We can't hit everyone, I'm sure, depending, especially as we continue to grow, we'll expand our team out, but that's the idea. So if you tag us in something, we'll come take a look. And if we think it's worthy of the poll, we'll throw it up. We can get post poll, we can get post debate polls, we can get in debate polls that are happening right then, live flash polls that only last an hour, or whatever it is that we want to do to really incorporate them, because we need to know and we want to know.
That's awesome. So I do have another question. You brought up like the food in the events, as far as like you're not going to have like Barrel's Pizza or Domino's installed in the venue. You mentioned like how you're going to handle all this and present that. I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the ACX1 Studios, the arena itself has multiple restaurants, not like like pop-ups or something. And we will bring external stuff in as well, but we actually have restaurants with chefs, with bars. It's like not pop-ups like that are there. And so they will be there. They'll be serving people. after one thing that's cool about this event too, and it's a kind of a crucial part that we wanted to make sure that we incorporated in the events is an in real life perspective, an in real life portion. Because debates are great, online is great, but at the same time, sometimes what's really needed in a lot of these conversations is actually getting to meet those people, meet your rivals, meet your contemporaries, meet the people, start the collaboration, start the in-person relationships and the networking, because it's key and pivotal. A lot of times, as I'm sure you're aware, especially in debate space, because it tends to be tribal and there's worldviews involved, etc. The cliques form, and then they have these rivalries back and forth, which is fine. But at the same time, here's a centralized venue in a professional and fun and peaceful way in which you can actually get to talk to these people like in person and get to know them and get to break bread with them, as opposed to just only hearing their hot takes on Twitter, if that makes sense.
So you mean to tell me that there is a possibility that I can be in the bar after demolishing a guy, sounds like worst offender, and then he bring out like a rat book, and then he could be drinking like a real fruity drink, and I could just, shoot the breeze with him as I drink a very manly beverage? That could probably happen.
That can't probably happen. That will happen. That's
that's awesome. Okay, all right. Just had to ask because I was just curious, because that's wild that this is actually happening. I like it. It's awesome though.
Yeah, we wanted it. We wanted there to be a human element to this. Online is great, but at the same time, a lot of times the real conversations and the real relationships are built in person. And so we wanted to make sure that was a part of the venue. We want people to collab. We want friendships, and we want rivalries, and we want whatever. And sometimes that in-person element is the one that's missing, and so we wanted to make sure it's not just there; it's actually incorporated into the event. It's what we're promoting. That we want that to be crucial. And so we have the VIP event, which I don't know if you've seen, but the tickets, we wanted to keep the tickets affordable, so the tickets range from $50 to $200, and the $200 ticket gets you access to the VIP after party, where everyone, debaters, people, creators, celebrities, folks. We're in Atlantic City. So we're right across from New York. We're in Jersey. There's a whole bunch of really big names that even if they're not debating, will definitely be at the after party. And so, we wanted to keep the tickets affordable, and there isn't a ton left. So what we've been, that's the environment we wanted to really foster.
I like that. I not only like that, I love it. And I think that it's not only a great idea, but the fact that this is coming into fruition, because I can see myself there, and then kind of like partaking in beverages with even my detractors and just saying, you know what? And we might come to the realization that this person doesn't really hate me in real life. They just have a view that they're stuck on. And then not only do we have a drink, but it's like, whatever. And then we can understand that we don't really take their worldview that seriously, but also I don't hold anything personal against my opponents. Well, this will be seen in real time that we actually don't hold things against our opponents in real time, because I think things online can be dramatized to such a degree that people start doxing and doing all this other stuff. I think that there will be a reduction of this, because they'll say, well, no, they were just hanging out, having a drink. They can't possibly hate each other that much to dox families and all this. So I think that's also going to create like a real world reduction of this as well too. So the thing that happened with Charlie Kirk may also be reduced as well too, because people are going to say, well, they're in the same space and they're not offing each other. So I think this is good for people to understand that in the real world, we don't really personally hate each other. We can have debates and then have a drink afterwards.
Yeah, we wanted to at least present the opportunity for those things to happen. A lot of good things and the positive things that the digital universe allows us to do, like I was saying, with communications and decentralization of information dissemination and all of these kinds of things. What's missing there, it's really good and it's really beneficial, and it can also be weaponized, but really what's missing there is the human element. It's very easy to dehumanize people, and so to also foster an environment where we can in real time combat the dehumanization in the real world, which is the most important, because in the real world is where things happen. In the digital realm is where, like you said, you have the echo chambers, and then people can just start going off and spiraling and all those kinds of things. But even the biggest people that when you meet them face to face, they're a little different than they present themselves behind the keyboard. And so I think it's really pivotal for not only you to interact there if you're an attendee, but also, we're going to be showing these things. We're going to be, not for everything, but we will be doing interviews, and we will have cameras roaming, and we want to show the human element to things, because It's actually what keeps the conversations alive. If we were just to leave everything up to the digital realm, you get the clicks and then you get the blocking and the censorship, but really the core line that goes through is the human element. And we want to make sure that's definitely incorporated in all the events.
So I know I have a lot of questions, but I just want to spitball one more question real quick. I'm still a professional athlete. I'm making another run to try to qualify for the Olympia this year. Probably do the Europa, the Chicago Pro or Texas Pro, or even the New York Pro with some of the Olympians. Like, I'm used to getting off stage and having a microphone in my face. Well, how do you think you did? You know, the folks at home, this and that from Muscular Development Magazine or any of these other things. I'm used to this. Will this be part of the venue where I get off, like, not even me, like if somebody gets off stage and they're like, how do you think about your performance? I see your team behind you, all this. Will that be happening as well too at these debates?
Absolutely. Yeah, we will be giving, the analysts will be giving, pre and post debate rundowns. We will have a media row. Absolutely. That's kind of the environment we want to create. Definitely.
That's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. Will there ever be a case? So let's say like you have two debaters, right? And they have their teams. And let's say one of them brings up how the other one's their religion encourages a high rate of inbreeding, rendering their IQ really low. Can that person, like their team member, their manager, just throw in the towel and be like, okay, dude, you're done. Like, let's get out of here.
Well, the audio is going in and out there a little bit, but I think I caught the gist of what you're saying. We are providing the venue, and the speakers will talk about whatever they talk about, and they'll make whatever points they make. We don't control it. They're on their own. And so whatever they say, they just have to be able to stand behind. So we provide the venue, and then whatever happens, happens.
You mean like the scene in Rocky where the black guy throws the towel in and he starts screaming, just stop the fight. Screaming. Yeah, I can see that
exactly. Like
if he dies, he dies.
Yeah, exactly. Throwing
the towel. No, absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be all sorts
of... If the atheist contradicts himself, he contradicts himself.
Yeah. Hey, man. That's the idea, put them under the lights and let's see how you hold up and let's see how you do it. Maybe you need to brush up, maybe and we'll have we'll have corners, and if people want to bring teams or coaches with them, and then in between rounds or whatever they want to do, they want to brush up and do some fact checking or whatever it is, they'll have the ability to do that.
Hey, yo, Apollo, you can't justify your worldview. What you talking about, Scott?
Yeah, we can see this happening.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that'd be funny.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I definitely do foresee with some of the names that we're already working with right now and some contracts that we're in the middle of signing or have signed. I definitely think that there's going to be some viral moments.
I like it. Well, I'm definitely going to be promoting as much as I can because I want to be a part of this in some way as a competitor. I don't know about you, Aftermath or Kewl Vic, but I'd like to see you guys actually kind of fight in the arena as well too. This would be awesome, especially with people I know. I think that word debate, it sounds like there's going to be a communal sense of involving people more so than they would be adverse to doing this if it's online. I think it'll have the opposite effect because if people see people actually gravitating towards this, that's a form of propagandization. And when people see this and it becomes popular or people like doing this, they'll tune in more and more people will want to show up in person and just be aspiring to be in moderated debates. Like Aftermath aspires to be in moderated debate. I think that this conversation alone is a form of propagandization that can be clipped and people could say, well, this is the venue. This is what it sounds like. To have you, by the way, I wanted to thank you for your presence on the podcast today, providing more insight into this other than, hearsay, because that's all that's going to come from me. Because it's like the game of telephone. By the time I tell them, I'm like, it's not quite exactly what you said. That's why I was referring to getting it from the horse's mouth, and that would be you.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I am definitely a party to a lot of the rumor campaigns going on, which is great. Honestly, I love it because it shows that people are interested, even if they don't have all the details or we haven't announced our major fight announcement. There's so much buzz in the independent and underground, debate sphere and by the creators that I like it, and any chance to kind of shed some light into what's going on. And I do think too, obviously, it's a new entity, it's a new face, it's a new brand, it's a new concept. But I think by the end of the first show, and when everyone sees what it is, I think at that point it's just off to the races, and then about scaling at that point, because I think as soon as we announce our events, they'll sell out like right away. We're almost sold out now, and we haven't even announced our cards yet. And so I think when people see really what we built and what we're delivering, I think that's going to be continue throughout the trend as we grow through. So we're probably going to have to scale and expand because the interest is insane. And as soon as some of these names start talking about what's actually happening and the big names and you see the promotions hit social media, et cetera, and so forth, I think you're just going to see an explosion in it, in interest and in participation. And then that really gives us the freedom that we need to add additional things, maybe add additional events, maybe add, like when you are talking about the Olympics. Well, in the Olympics, there's more than one sport. You have you have the 100-yard dash, but you also have pole vaulting, and you also have this and that. And there's a lot of ways in which we can incorporate free speech concepts or debate concepts or knowledge building concepts that may not be a specific debate themselves. And also for those creators or those folks who have something to say, but maybe an hour and a half long debate, one-on-one isn't their preferred format. We want to create other kind of side activities that people can participate in and really shine in their specific field.
Well, one thing I wanted to say too is I'm wondering also this too. Before people have a UFC fight, before people compete on bodybuilding stages, I know at one point in my career when I was doing like strongman competitions or even Super League, things like this, there's a little bit of trash talk that happens beforehand. And I could just imagine it going like this. Yeah, you can bring out your rap book anytime, but I'm just going to debunk it. I look forward to seeing you on the 5th, on this and that. And I think that would be awesome too. Kind of like if we can hype ourselves up and then you guys promote that. It's like pre-fight footage. Oh gosh, this is going to be crazy. They look like they really hate each other. We don't really hate each other, but we're really hating this argument that we're about to face and, kind of amping us up. I think that would be great too. I know I'm just throwing things out there, but how does that sound for the future debate? Is that going to be involved in this?
I look forward to seeing all of the pre and post event trash talking and seeing what's going on. This is obviously an intellectual endeavor, but also entertainment. We want people to have fun and we want it to be entertaining. And a lot of times in a lot of these spheres, as I'm sure you all are all aware, there is drama, and that's just a part of it, and there's already a whole host of things that we're talking about internally that could be worked in. You have the UFC, and then there's the Ultimate Fighter or whatever, where they bring on the fighters and they're testing them out in the house, etc. And then the winner gets to take the fight. There's a whole host of things that can be incorporated. We want to see that. We want to see the behind the scenes. We want to see, what's going on and the rivalries build. Not only does it help us, but it really helps create this culture and the fan bases and all of those kinds of things. We like that. We want to see competing teams. We want to see competing debaters. And yeah, a little bit of drama never hurt anybody. It's all in good fun.
So who founded Word War? Like who founded it? Whose idea was this initially?
Sure. It was the concept was Ben Swan with the Enlightenment Network, Sam Tripoli, and Andrew. As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of the three minds behind it initially. And then it's just grown and scaled as the team started growing and the ideas started taking roots. So yeah, so a lot of great minds came together on this.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Vic, do you got any questions?
No, I think he answered everything that I was curious about.
Yeah, I'm interested because athletics has been compared to a lot of things, or everything's been compared to like athletics. Like they'll call everything a sport. They'll say, well, the sport of chess, well, that could be a debate topic that somebody's had in the past saying, well, it's not really a sport because how are you athletic doing it? Well, it's like, it's sport. There's sportsman conduct with that. So there's also this entailment as well too. But I think that when you look at this, it's like we can make this kind of like a sport. And you can even probably call it a sport by some degree because there's maybe openings, there's probably competitors, people have to train for this. And then not to mention that, but it's going to expose a lack of competence when it comes to this. So if people are inept to debate, I think that's going to be magnified on stage. And then people are going to be outed real quick. So if you're a sham, they're going to know, oh, this guy isn't a real athlete in terms of like logic or debate or philosophy. And they don't really have the chops to do this and they get, weeded out. And I think that in every sport, I've realized this too. You start getting weeded out, and then when you start rising up towards the top, you know, there's like these little distinctions between somebody's argument maybe and then somebody else's argument, and then people start talking about this. My question is that I'm alluding to is, well, there'll be like sportscasters on the channel talking about this. Andrew seems to be doing really good in this debate. Let's see if we can come back up with this, because somehow that was a low blow by this person. Let's see, you know, things like this. Will that be happening as well too? How sportsmanlike will this look?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the absolutely. We'll have the moderator obviously, but then we'll have the panel of analysts. Like for this event, it's Gavin McInnes, it's Sam Tripoli, and it's Kyla Turner. And they'll be the ones for this specific event who will be doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that you brought up McGinnis, can you tell the audience, because they, unbeknownst to them, they may not know some of them. Can you tell me that, can you tell them what his affiliation was back in the day? By the way, I think he's very base, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Gavin's great. He's been wonderful. He's funny. He's cultural. He's been in the game for a long time. You know, he used to be with Vice back in the day. He was a skateboarder, kind of counterculture figure. And then he's moved through into politics. Obviously, he's become more conservative, right wing, I guess you could say. And he likes to, and he sees the world through that lens. And so I think having his insight, you know, he's kind of a cult following figure. So we're happy to have him in there. He's really excited about it. He specifically likes these kinds of things, and he likes not just the political aspect of it, but the cultural aspect of it too. And you know, if anyone's going to turn debate into a sport, a televised sport, it should be America. If we can't turn it into a sport, no one can turn it into a sport. America's great at that. So, you know, that's really what we're looking for. But yeah, Gavin's great. And we'll probably see him maybe do some posts tomorrow, start officially announcing his participation. And yeah, so he's funny, and he's witty, and he's got kind of an old school sense of humor. And so I think that'll be a good contrast to Sam Tripoli. Obviously, high energy, and Kyla Turner, obviously, she has a different view on the world than both of them do. And so I think we'll kind of get a cross-spectrum analysis there. But yeah, it'll be happening live during the events, intermissions, etc. There's definitely going to be pre- and post-game reports.
I do got to say this because you talked about cult following. I'm really bummed, by the way, WWD. And the reason why I'm bummed is because I just recently found out that Andrew Wilson does not have a cult. Really saddened by this news and really depressed about this. I feel like I'm just going to leave right now, this panel, because I'm just so bummed out by that. But back to this, I think that this is going to be a great venue, like I was saying. And then not to mention that, but the fact that you have the woman on the panel, I forgot her name. You said it again, but the fact that you don't have an echo chamber of people that are all in agreement, I think that that's also good too. But you know, so that way everybody can understand, like, we're not just going to have just one think when it comes to like panelists, judges, things like that. And I think that's a brilliant move as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Kyla Turner, she is, you know, on the left side of the political aisle spectrum, but we wanted that. We want a mix of voices. That's why you'll probably see some rotations as the events happen too. It may not be static all the time. We really want to see that. We also want to test people out. We're growing and scaling this, and we want to see who really works in this position, who does really well, who represents their worldview, who makes it entertaining, or who has the hottest takes, whatever it is, who gives the best insight. And so I think you'll see a few people cycle through there. But yeah, we really wanted to. This is not a you know, this is a meritocracy in the true sense. We really want the best people to shine and go through this with us and grow with us. So we're really happy about that. So yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I like that. So I especially like the fact that you guys have scouts. Like, this sounds even more like sports than anything else to me. And I'm sold already. And it's not just because I'm a pro athlete and I have a foundation in sports. I also want to display, like, because people have agendas, right? So if I was to get a world war debate, I want to show that bodybuilders and strength athletes aren't box of rocks. It's like we can actually think for once on our own, and we don't need scripts or anything like this. Like, that we've been portrayed in the media so badly to where it's like, you know, this guy's all brawn and no brains. Like, to me, I just want to get on there and do that. And I'm pretty sure people want to do the same. Like, and even cultures, like if there's somebody that's Islamist and disagrees with Andrew's take on like low IQ, he can get up there and defend his worldview, just like I just stated my worldview. I want to defend that too because of stereotypes and all this. There's so many reasons to partake in world war debate. We all have a worldview, whether or not we believe it or not, that we hold true. We just don't say this because there's a big silence that's happening in America to some degree. I'm doing a debate next week on white people being oppressed in America, and there's like white silence. If they say something that's justified and true, they're deemed racist. But that's like one point, but it's like the UK's mirroring this. There's a silence agenda that's happening. And in small segments and populaces, we can see the silencing of speech happening. And I think that you are the antithesis of this when you're backing this and actually wanting to promote free speech and also good discourse. I think this is not only good, but it's very needed in society. I think this is going to push cultural narratives as far as like us talking and being able to not hide behind our thoughts. We can have a brilliant person behind the scenes and have all these great thoughts and have a great defense, but not ever come out because they're afraid of being ostracized. I think that this is good. We're promoting this. And I think this is a good endorsement of sportsmanlike conduct. Even if people want to fall out at the end or whatever, we're going to have a drink afterwards and make up. But I think that this is overall good. I would definitely promote this. I don't know about you, Aftermath, and Cool. It sounds like you guys are on board as well too, but this is good.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited to see how it all unfolds and all the top tier debaters, all the mid tier, and hopefully, me and Cool and you can be up there as well. So I'm looking forward to a lot. And what was your name? So WWD, what was your name?
It's Word War Debate.
You can just call me T. Yeah.
There you go. T. I was gonna say what you told me on X. Just call me Word War Debate.
Be a market.
Yeah,
definitely. There wouldn't be a market if the discourse was where if people were satisfied with the level of discourse available to them right now. The reason why there is a market and the reason why this is even possible is because people are done with the gatekeepers. They see past it. They've heard the same 5 talking points from this side or that side on this subject or that subject. And they're more intelligent than that, and they want to dig deeper than that. And I think specifically for the reasons you were saying, it's created a market. Created a place that is really people are the reason why we're so popular. It's the concept itself. People are starving for it. They're over it. They don't watch just Fox News or CNN anymore. That's not how the world works anymore. They're not getting their news in 2 to 5 minute snippets anymore. They have the ability to go on and listen to a podcast, listen to a debate, and really hear independent ideas or things explained in ways they never have before. And that's why we're popular, and that's why we're gaining in popularity, because the market's been starved for it, and we're just happy to be the venue for those people.
Absolutely.
I think that's good. One thing I want to say real quick, I think that fiction is kind of less realistic than reality. Reality's stranger, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because back in the day, we used to watch Kumite, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and we saw like the black market being produced on a fictional space of the screen saying, oh man, that would be crazy if that really happened. And that's what happened in the UFC. They rolled this out with Dana White, and they had I don't even think they had time limits. Dan Severn came out and all this, and it was just crazy. And then they started fine tuning this as it came along. And then they had doctors on board, and other industries started becoming more involved. And I think that this will go the way of that to some degree, because I think that as we start out, we're going to have professors from university, people that are more analytical as far as experts in their field coming in and wanting to be involved. They're saying, hey, this is my venue. This is what I went to college for, whatever this is, right? Or even somebody from somebody's backyard that is really great with rhetoric, logic, and all this may come out of the woodwork and show up, because I think that what you're talking about is a suppression of speech and all this. We've literally created a black market because you're talking about the main industries like maybe Clear Channel and all this happening. And, this narrative has been boxed in for so long and people got tired of this. So now all of a sudden we have independent media coming out, me with my own stream, Cool Vic, and even Aftermath up and coming, things like this. So this is kind of like mirroring that to some degree. Now we're coming out and World War Debate is coming out. Now I think that what's going to happen, and this is just me making an assumption, it'll be fine-tuned as it goes along. Next thing you know, we'll have whatever you deem as doctors coming on board saying, you know what, we're going to help this person out because this liberal got destroyed so bad, their trauma, we're just going to tell them it's not trauma, like all this. Like it's going to happen and it's going to fine-tune as it goes along. That's where I see it. And of course, all assumptions, but I'm pretty sure you're going to mirror the same thought and say, yeah.
No, absolutely. And also, the ability for us to branch out into more subjects than people are used to seeing in the mainstream narratives is going to be helpful. A lot of times, like for instance, artificial intelligence is a big topic right now. It's been pulling very heavy that the audience is very interested in the future of artificial intelligence. And generally, you get, unless you're really into it, you can go in and watch some of the discussions internally happening, but realistically, there's a whole bunch of things that are facing people that the people who have the information may not have a national platform. And so to give them the ability to present their research in a debate format, and have both sides of the argument or something, actually start going through the nitty gritty of some of these more in-depth topics, or healthcare, or any number of things, outside of the pre-canned 5-minute speeches. I think it's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people, and I think actually people will learn a lot from some of these debates that they weren't aware of exactly where things are in the progression of those industries.
One thing I'll say is I think in a way, I don't know if you've ever thought this through to this degree, but this is what I was thinking right now, and it just popped up. I think that you're really promoting education if you really think about this. And what I mean to say is, let's say if I do a debate with Kewl V1c and I get bodied, right? Because he's great on Platonism, Plato, Aristotle, as far as his think as far as philosophy, and I just get bodied on philosophy, I'm going to have to go back to the books and be like, look, there's no way that he's going to get his upper hand. Like we think about fighting styles and things like this. If you have knowledge, you have more wisdom, and then you can approach a fight and be more competent. I'm going to be forced to have to go back to the books or listen to audiobook or something like that and be more well-versed when it comes to fallacies, things like this. And I'm pretty sure people out there don't even know what a fallacy is out there with our education level right now. They're going to have to be able to comprehend, the different levels of even being intertwined in a debate, like your interlocutors coming at you and saying, well, I'm just going to come at this guy with I would say a false equivalence. And then they're getting bodied. They're like, well, I could have countered that in some way. Okay, I have to educate myself a little bit more, because not only, you're talking about highly intelligent people to like the low rung that aren't intelligent getting into this. I think that people are going to be forced to have to educate themselves. Even going outside the public school, which may be a limiter to some degree right now with DEI programs and things like that, and have to actually look up real information and look up real fallacies and look up how to argue as well too. And by the way, if you guys are out there, buy Andrew Wilson's course. Great course, by the way. Just get that. I'm plugging this, by the way, too. So this is going to help. People are going to have to educate themselves. Like fighters that lose, they're like, well, I'm going to have to learn jujitsu because this guy bodied me on the ground. My ground game's bad. And they're going to have to do this. So I think actually, in a way, like third party, whatever you want to call this, as a side effect, people are going to have to force to educate themselves on how to actually control their emotions and actually engage in somebody in real time and actually defend a real world in the way, like, okay, they don't want to look bad on camera because this is going to get clipped out of context. And this is going to force education to some degree. And I like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's really what good debate does. And if you have good, smart, intelligent people who understand all the nuts and bolts that go into making a good debate, who understands the nitty gritty of the subject matter, I think it makes a big difference. Even in these realms where you have your Crucible Crews and you have your, all these other kind of clubs that are springing up about or centered around debate, it's great, but it does create an echo chamber. When you're talking to folks and a majority of your fans already know and agree with everything you're saying, it's good for them to see at a national level the people who are representing that worldview go out and either clobber or find rebuttals that they never thought of, or maybe they discover some holes in the argument that they need to figure out. And that's absolutely one of the more beneficial things that can happen from a national debate stage like this.
Yeah, and I think that if you have an atheist get on board on stage with a Christian nationalist or Christian populist, and they get together, I think a lot of this is going to expose whatever I would say weaknesses in somebody's fight game, as you want to. Like, I'm just going to word it like that, and not to mention this, but it may bolster people, because here's the thing that I'll say right now: you may have people watching World War debate on the fence at home, and they could say, "Well, I don't know. I'm in the middle. I'm agnostic. Whatever this is," and they'll watch this debate, whether or not it's about AI, and they feel comfortable with AI, or they're against it. You can have people that are indifferent and on the fence, even in this realm of the gray area, I would say this broad spectrum. They'll watch this debate. They'll become more informed because they'll say, well, that's a fallacy. That's bad. That's been pointed out by one of the commentators. And next thing you know, they're no longer on the fence. And this could actually move the needle. And that's what I've been telling people, why debate actually helps people inform decisions, because they're being entertained by this. If I'm going to feed a dog a pill, I might wrap it up in meat to make it easier to digest. But you're going to expose a lot in people. You're going to show people that are probably more charismatic, good entertainers. This is also going to magnify this as well too. And also, this is just going to be overall entertainment for people at the same time while they're in the process of educating themselves. And then they're not going to be lukewarm fence sitters anymore. This could also happen as well as a side effect of watching World War debate or even participating World War debate.
I don't think I could have said it better myself. Absolutely. That's a center core kernel of all of these things. And that's absolutely what we want. We want people to come, have fun, engage, collab, learn something new, maybe discover someone they've never heard before, or an argument they haven't explored yet, or a rabbit hole, or a fact they can go down, or something they can research. Absolutely. I think that people, by watching it, not only will they be entertained, but then when they'll be thinking about it the next day. They're gonna, you know what? In this theological debate, I thought this, and then this guy brought up this point that I've never heard before. Let's go research it, and maybe it reinforces their point, or maybe they have to do some research and fix a hole in their worldview. But that's absolutely 100%. That's the crux to this whole thing, and we really hope, on an altruistic way, that it does that.
How very sneaky of you to say this, World War debate, because what you're talking about is planting seeds in people's head and informing their decisions and using propagandization. And then when people take a shower, they do their deepest thinking in the shower. And what you're referring to is like maybe somebody takes a shower and the next day, you know how you get a song stuck in your head and you're like, I don't know how I can get it out of my head. Well, this is what happens with ideas and thought processes, or even how we inform our decisions, or even curate our arguments around discussions. We may actually think about weaponizing a tool of discussion that we have and actually refine it so that way when the next time we have a conversation with our aunt or uncle, you can hear this in a debate and then use that in this family discussion. Hopefully it's not during Thanksgiving or Christmas and you split up your family, but I'm just saying, if you can use this and you're planting seeds, I think that this is good, because people are informed of decisions all the time by manipulated media, commercialized, Clear Channel over here, things like this. But I think that this is good. Overall good. I don't see a negative with this, and I'm actually struggling to see where there would be a negative thing that I can ask about this, but I can't.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be debate.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, and I think that debate in general is going to be the way that Christians win back the culture war, right? Because that's really what this is. I think what it comes down to is, this is something that, Andrew Wilson and Marte talk about, Jim Bob, which is, we want to win the culture. We want to win the mainstream, the mainstream. We want everything in our culture, whether it's movies, maybe not necessarily music, because Christian rock sucks. But, movies and just, like because we live in a completely secularist culture, right? I mean, I don't think there's any debate about that. And I think, I remember Andrew Wilson during one of his debates, I think it was a DebateCon debate, where he said, like, Christians don't need violence. We don't need force to win people over. It's all about, what we do, which is, debate and converse with people. So I think it's great, man. Like, I think this is going to be a huge tool for people with our worldview to really keep spreading that word of Christian values, Christian ethics, and how it's just everything about it. It just produces optimal outcomes for the individual, for societies, and I think it's going to be amazing. So,
yeah, well, and it's one of those things, even like on a granular, like what you're talking about, with specific worldviews, for sure. An open venue where they can talk about a debate about it, bring those topics to the mainstream, but then also, even in the divided nature of these discussions, creating a centralized, sportsman-like, professional venue. Really, too, what happens, even among people who have differing worldviews, is actually they become united, at least under one roof, in the pursuing of the truth and pursuing of free speech. So even if they disagree vehemently on political or theological or whatever the issues may be, they agree at the end of the day that there is a venue, and they're happy that there's a venue that at least they can go speak their piece.
It's awesome. I don't have anything else to say because I'm still processing all this. It just sounds really based. And I don't think that we would have ever seen this from the liberal side. I don't think that sounds judgmental. I am, because I don't think that they would have welcoming arms in this and then say, we're going to have an open media that's welcome for everybody else. It's going to be a venue. We're going to allow our detractors to come in and I would think ambush, but I think that we are not like that. I'm not going to call ourselves like conservatives or whatever, but on this side of the space, because there are people who may be towards the centrist or whatever that is. But I think the fact that we can allow this to happen, I think speaks volumes, because people often mirror each other. This is my next question that I have, and this is what I'm leaning towards, is whenever you see another industry like UFC show up, Bellator shows up, or WWE shows up, and then, what's the other wrestling organization called?
AEW.
Yeah, AEW shows up. Do you think in the future that people could mirror this as far as like a business model? They'll say, well, War Debate does that, where we're going to have our own organization. Do you think that something like that could happen in the future?
Of course, we welcome the competition. Let's see who pulls that ahead. We'll see.
Well, there kind of already is some competition when you think about it, like with modern day debate. Word War is kind of a competitor of modern day debate, because modern day debate, that channel, you got to give that channel some props. That guy, although I don't want to like stir up crap, but I don't know. I have some. It's the moderator. I don't know. The host of that show. I think there's been times where I think he generally does a good job, but I think there's been times where he's been a little bit biased towards, certain debaters. But that's a whole nother thing. But Word War, to me, that's the first thing that I thought of, right? That's when I first saw the promos for Word War, I was like, oh, these guys are wanting to come up and compete with modern day debate, and I think it's great. And I saw that, obviously it was Andrew and Sam Tripoli they were promoting, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is what we need more of, because it's just, sure, there's all these other individual like channels that moderate debates, but there's a few, modern day debate is kind of like the big debate platform on YouTube. And so it's great that we have, something like Word War to compete with that and just kind of improve upon it and have better moderation and just have implement these different elements to it. So yeah, man, exciting stuff, super exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I commend, in all honesty, I commend anyone who's willing to have a venue, even if they're competitors, for people to speak their truth and debate their points. We need more of that, not less of that. Essentially what we're doing and what Word War's the goal is here is to create a new standard, to show people what's possible, not just to do it on a basic level, but really let's have some fun with it. Let's run with it as much as we can. Let's see how cool and fun and exciting that we can do with it. And although I commend any other networks or people who are also encouraging debate, we're just going to try to set the standard and show people how the best that it can be done. That's
awesome. Vic, you said you had a hard out in like 15 minutes or something like that.
I could go a little bit longer.
Oh, okay. I don't want to because I'm trying to be mindful as well too. So
I can go just on that note, I can go probably for about another hour, but I would say at 8. I do have a hard out at 8. So, but I can go, for about another
Me too.
hour.
I'll say another 45, 60 minutes, and then that's about it. Yeah. That's like my perfect limit. I don't know about you, Vic, but
that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Fine. All right. So about an hour from now, and then that's about it. Anybody else have any questions for Word War Debate here? By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, we have one of the main people. What would you call your position, Word War Debate, in Word War Debate?
I'm just a promoter.
Okay, we have one of, if not the main promoter promoter of Word War Debate here. If you're just tuning in, we are asking a lot of questions. And also, if you want to ask questions in the chat, please feel free to ask right now. There may be something you want to ask that I haven't asked, Vic hasn't asked, or Aftermath hasn't asked yet. But just ask a question if you want. It could be a really compelling question, but I mean, there are such things as stupid questions that I'm not going to answer to. So that does exist on my channel, because if you're going to ask about, rat uterus books or something like that, and that's not relevant to World War Debate, like, let's just ask real questions, because the reason why I want to have World War Debate on here is so that way we can have questions answered. And also, I also want to promote this platform as well, too. I think it's much needed. And I appreciate you, World War Debate, for your appearance on my panel as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the invite. I relish in the opportunities to kind of explain what's going on and give people a little bit of the behind the scenes look in between the X posts and the promo videos, and kind of really show that this is something a little deeper than just a marketing gimmick. And so I really appreciate it. And the tickets start at $50, so people can go to wordwardebate.com and get their tickets. They can follow us at World War Debate on X, and they can participate in the polls, all that stuff, and become a part of it. This is a community. This is an entire thing that we're trying to build, and it requires you guys, and it requires your voices, and it requires your input to be successful in the ways that we want to be. So I would just encourage people to do that, and I appreciate the platform.
Yeah, I think that this is also good, but I also want to do my due diligence too. I have a lot of connections in the industry in several sports, like Arizona Cardinals players that I work with, a couple Diamondback players and stuff like that. We all have a community, but I also want to get it out there that a lot of us aren't just box or rocks. We just don't perform like one thing. Oh, we just only do baseball. Like, a lot of us graduated with communications degree. I know that doesn't mean much, actually, to be honest with you, but a lot of people, they have an exit as far as like if they stop competing, but they maybe want to still be competitive in some arenas. Well, this will help, because there's like a lot of depression that happens after pro athletes leave careers, because that's their identity that they leave. They can still crush opponents, but maybe do it in this arena where they're not beating their body up. And that's kind of like the pivot that I've taken. I mean, I'm still going to try to qualify for the Olympia one more time and do one last pro show and bring on sponsors. But I also want to tell all my pro athlete peers out there, hey, there's the venue that you can get into and whoop ass if you want to, but you have to have some brains to get in here and prove this stereotype a little bit wrong. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of adversity and strife if you guys want to lean into that, because that's what you've been doing the whole time. But doing this in a different venue, in a different way, I think that this is good. And as pro athletes, I think that we are not necessarily role models that we would say, I mean, quoting Charles Barkley, but people do look up to us, and we do have a mouth and a platform. I think that we can use this in a form of debate and actually present our ideas in real time and actually get this out there and get the word of World War Debate out there, so that we can start promotion on our own platforms as well, too, with our own voices and with using our status as well, too. I think that this is good. So that's my message to all my peers out there who are also athletes, to get out there and get into this arena, man. Prove them wrong. We're not just a box of rocks out here. So just get out here and tangle with these people, because I know a lot of you guys are brilliant out there. I've had conversations. I'm having Jay Cutler or Breon Ansley, who's won the Classic Olympia, people like that. I'm having music artists from Maybach Music on the platform. I'm going to talk to them about this. Dr. Dre's producer, Dr. Evo, I'm going to have him on the podcast pretty soon as well, too. People like this. So I am going to get this, even if they don't want to join, I'm still going to promote it to even their audience. So I think that this is good to have you on there. So I think that not only this, but it's a great promotional aspect of just having you on board and talking about this and kind of like sifting through our questions and answering them. So that way I don't have to do third party answering for you. That's good.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing with the interactivity, being able to interact with what we're doing, especially on social media, like on X predominantly right now, is we can weigh in on any subject. We can poll, and we can bring the WWE fans to give their thoughts on any subject. So it could really be anything. It could be politics, it could be religion, it could be technology, it could be music industry, it could be anything anything that can be debated, which is everything. If you find something's interesting, just tag us in it at Word War Debate. in underneath the video or whatever it is, and we'll come take a look, because really people are interested in all those things. They're interested in sports, they're interested in music, they're interested in movies, they're interested in entertainment, they're interested in more stereotypically intellectual endeavors like theocracy or whatever. But realistically, we want to know what everyone thinks about everything. We want to know what interests people and where there's overlap. And is there room for a debate on this subject? Maybe you have a musician debating another musician about whatever's going on in that industry. It's not just limited. We can really have an open mind about these things, and the crowd drives the sentiment. The crowd drives the fervor and the interest. So wherever the crowd, where their interests are, that's where we're going to provide them the content that they want to see.
I think that when you talked about the AI polling high, all you're going to do is just make me lean into that and try to see if I can find that as my entrance. Okay, there's got to be a dispute I have, because I do want to show up to the venue, even if it's through that prompt. Even though I may not like it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably going to try to see if I can test my chops, if that's the way to get in there. I know I'm probably revealing my hand a little bit too much by saying that, but what the hell? We're just transparent here.
Well,
and
I would
like
still say, as of right now, from what we're seeing from the polls that we're running, obviously still a lot, I would say predominantly a lot of people want to debate political subjects. Probably second to that is religious subjects, theology, etc. That's really big as well. But because of the emergence of technology in society, and just how fast everything is progressing, it's coming up. I mean, a lot, and a lot of people are very interested in it. Some people don't understand it, or they're operating on the assumptions that maybe were true 2 years ago, but technology is moving so fast that all of a sudden a new technology comes out and they say, how did we get here? Or where is this going? And I think those are important questions. So I think, primarily those three subjects keep coming up over and over again. And I think obviously they're tied in some way, and there are political natures to those things. But I think people are really waking up to a lot of different industries and technologies and things they haven't seen before. So it's coming up quite a bit. And I would still say politics right now seems to be dominating the the marketplace, but at the same time, other subjects are coming up, and they're coming up fast. And so we're noticing that trend as we're doing our polls live.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, especially when it comes to politics and religion. I mean, these are things that people tell you on a date and in family events and even work, people don't talk about. That's been shunned since probably the dawn of time, when it comes to like modernization of culture, in culture, I would say, and everything else. People will tell you, don't talk about religion or politics in this, when really we should talk about this. Matter of fact, on first dates, I would say that's something that you should talk about, because that's the thing that could be breaking you up on month 4. I've said this to people I've talked to in the past, but I think it's extremely important if we can change this dynamic a little bit more and remove the stigma of not talking about this. I understand that why they say this, because it could lead to fights and breaking up and splitting of families. But I think when people have the conversation, which is debates, what debate's going to do is you're going to formulate a discussion to say, okay, I'm not going to have an emotional argument. I'm just going to tell you these facts. But the way that I'm going to formulate this is where it's easily digestible to you, and you can understand that I'm not your total enemy here. I'm just attacking what you're saying. But I think that people are going to see this on full display in World War debate, and then you're going to have fans. You're going to, I don't even know, I don't want to say groupies, but this could all come out from this when this happens. And then you could be a new fan of a debater that shows up that was a nobody from, I would say, Danielson's camp, when Cobra Kai is dominating the event and they're the big evil with money behind them. I know you brought up the fact that money isn't going to be involved. That was something that we talked about. Can you elaborate more on this, on how money isn't going to be a manipulator at this event?
Sure. Well, we're independent. We want to keep creative control over our event. So obviously, there's going to be sponsors or people that help us put the event together and brand and stuff that we're working with. But the concept is we continue to maintain the creative control and the direction of things as they progress. And so the one thing that we're seeing that's organically happening, and we're starting to get requests now, which we figured probably would happen, is people want to put their own teams together. So, there's many ways in which that can be incorporated in something like this. But for instance, you have the Marte team, and you want to put your team together, and you have money. Well, then you have the ability to get, to pay the best debaters to be on your team, or to get them the best training, or whatever it is. So on an independent level, sure, I'm sure people will try to do, on that level. But at an institutional level, it's kind of crucial actually to the business model in order for us to be able to maintain the creative control over those things, and really not be corralled or gate kept onto any kind of specific narrative.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that, I mean, one of the things that I want to ask though is like, I think that, well, I mean, it's not really asked per se, but I'm just kind of continuing on this discussion. I want to kind of highlight this. I think that there could be a future where I've been sponsored as an athlete before. I think that possibly I can go into, and I'm just saying a hypothetical, let's say that I'm a debater and people like me and my fan base starts building and growing. Matter of fact, my channel just hit 2,000 subscribers. Maybe we could hold like a extra grand party or something like that.
Yeah.
This is one thing I want to say though, real quick, is though, even though like my resurgence on the internet as like not an athlete, but as a debater is happening right now, I could get a fan base. And then not to mention that, but I can get sponsorship as far as like, what can we do to sponsor Marte? Maybe I show up in a jacket that has like Crucible logo here or a Vic logo here, something like that. And they're like, okay, well, that's who sponsors him. And then I show up and then somebody pays for Andrew Wilson's debate course and says, you know, I want this athlete to become even stronger. Or they pay for like philosophy courses and they say, I'm sponsoring this athlete here. That's who's behind him. And then they have this where we have this fight press conference. Maybe that even happens where there's a fight press conference and I show up and then somebody's talking trash and I say, well, I'm whooping your ass tomorrow on Logic and this and that. And then we close it out and maybe there's theatrics where we look like we're going to fight. They break it up and that's just the part that's, you know, whatever. But Jubilee does this all the time where they get the people together and I'm just going to kind of tell this whole thing where they're like, well, I don't know. They wanted me to show up 3 more times, but this could probably ruin. I don't care. But anyways, when we act like we're showing up for the chairs, to run toward the chairs, the moderator, whoever runs the channel, is like, hey, just act like you're running towards the chair, even though we know who's going to show up at the table. They literally pick who's showing up to the table. We just have to act like we're running to give everybody a fair shot. But I know there's theatrics involved in everything, like behind the scenes. Maybe there's a press conference before where the fighters, quote unquote, meet up and they talk a little bit and then they break it up to create dramatic flair. But I see all this happening possibly where people want to sponsor me or another debater and say, you know what, I want to fund him as a better debater. I want to help him out on his journey and give him more education as far as philosophy, maybe a mathematics debate, something like that. I think the future is wide open as far as like what the possibilities are for World War debate.
Yeah. 100%. We're at ground zero right now. We are in the beginning launch stages. We fully intend this to grow and expand in scale. But absolutely, on a bunch of those things that you said, absolutely, we are 100%. I can say some of those things are going to happen. They're already happening organically. Now that people are finding out what's going on, they're starting to learn what it is that we're doing. Then yeah, we're already having people reaching out saying, hey, I got a group of 20 podcasters behind me and we want to put a team together and have a team captain and maybe cycle through debaters. Is that something that we can do? And so we're looking at those models right now. But I think it's going to happen organically. I think that a lot of those, you're going to have teams and friends and people that jive really well together, that understand each other's worldview and debating styles. And I think that's going to push the cream to the top. I think that's what's going to really help build some of these intellectual powerhouses, whether they're people that the audience knows now or in the future, new people that come up and just dominate. I definitely think that's 100% going to happen.
And this is something I want to see is like, you know how we have fantasy drafts and things like that? I want to see a fantasy team come together of BMH that shows up. And this team BMH comes up and they say, we're the new team on the block and we're going to whoop everybody's ass. Based home moms or base moms at home. And Rachel Wilson's the team captain. And all these women are just, they promote this. They're anti-public education. They're like, no, you know what? We love patriarchs as far as this, and then we have a Christian ethical system behind us, and then they have like a framework, and then there's like another opposing team that's like, nope, we should be able to delete babies, this and that. Like, I want to see this happen. There are people that we look up to already. I know like probably like 5 women off the bat that like look up to Rachel Wilson, and they're like, she's amazing. These people could then follow suit and just be like, you know what, I need to be able to argue my points too, because I go to the school function with kids, and then not to mention this, but like, they're dominating, right? These liberals show up to public school and they're like, well, I don't know how to counter any of this. Well, they can then become fans of this whole network and maybe even be on the team. Things like that. The possibilities are wide open for this. I see this happen, and I know Vic is a fan of certain debaters. I know the Aftermath is a fan of certain debaters. Things like this happen, and I think people gravitate towards who they can relate to. Like attracts like, but also people can be converted from being on a fence too. World War Debate has the possibilities of incorporating so much into the fray of the fight, because this is an ideological war, and they're literally seeing a war happen on screen.
I would be,
No.
I don't know how you guys would
Absolutely.
feel about it, but I would be in favor of having female debaters only debate certain topics. How would you guys feel about that? You can only talk about the patriarchy. You can only be pro-patriarchy and talk about should women prioritize marriage and children over careers. I just feel like the women should just have a limited amount of topics that they're allowed to debate about. What do you guys think?
I don't think that's a good idea. I think that if you have a stupid opinion, it should be exposed on its face. And I think the only way to do that is not to shut people down and silence them, which is what I think you're alluding to some degree. I mean, I don't want to think you're saying that, are you? But I think that if you have a stupid opinion and you show up, that should be destroyed. I think that if you have a faulty logic, I think that should be exposed. And I think that World War Debate is something that's going to expose people that shouldn't be there.
I think the great
yeah,
mediator there is we'll have the panel who will be weighing in, obviously, and they'll be, talking about what they thought about things and potentially scores involved there. But I think really the great equalizer in something like that is the audience and the feedback. And, we really, we avoid, there's no discrimination. We really want to push the ideas out there and really have it be a best man or woman win. And so whoever is the best at doing that. So what I would say is just make sure that your debate points are are dialed in, so that if you do come across a female opponent, you can represent your worldview better.
Yeah, no, I just thought he was going in a different direction there. I thought he was going to say something like, "Oh, I think we should have the women only debate, but it's in mud wrestling contests." Or something like that,
There you go.
That's what I thought I was going to go.
No,
I
in
think
all
that would be a
honesty,
good
though,
idea.
I would like to see. I would like to see women debate more about, because it seems like, I mean, Rachel is like the only woman I can think of off the top of my head that'll have debates about, when should women start prioritizing, marriage. And it's like, because like women will, you go on Twitter, there's, you go on YouTube, all these platforms, and, women, they have these shows and they'll talk about everything, right? They'll talk about politics, everything that's going on, right? But it's like, okay, great. Well, how about you talk about, do women have any duties in society? Like, it's almost like they avoid talking about like the really important stuff that women should be talking about. It's only like women like Rachel Wilson that'll bring it up. Like, hey guys, yeah, it's great to have opinions. I'm not saying women shouldn't have opinions. They should. But I mean, it'd be nice to see more women both on the left and the right. Because, you'll have these women on Twitter who I always, call out, like they're like these anti fetus deletus, advocates, right? And they're just constantly on Twitter all day long. Hey, fetus deletus is bad. Fetus deletus is bad. We shouldn't do it. It's like, thanks, lady. We know that. Can you talk about what should a 22-year-old woman be doing right now? Like, what advice would you give to a 22-year-old woman who is like, okay, I just got out of college, or maybe I just got done my bachelor's. Like, should I be pursuing a career, or maybe should I really start taking this whole marriage and child rearing seriously? It'd be nice to see more women give their take on it. And I think the reason why they avoid it is because there are so many covert feminists who they don't even want to engage in that. Andrew Wilson, we all saw how Andrew Wilson, he kept trying to get this answer from Lauren, what's her name? Tommy Lahren, right? Tommy Lahren. Tommy, what are women supposed to bring to the table? What duties do women have to their men? What duties do women have to society? And nothing. Can't get an answer. Just can't get an answer out of these women. So
Aftermath,
that would be my
World War Debate. If I can answer this real quick. If I could just answer this real quick, I know you have your own answer. I just want to respond my own on my own time real quick. So Aftermath, this is the thing though. Women are, I would say, and this is probably going to be offensive to a lot of women, women are the easiest, like, and this is anecdotal, maybe this is like proven anywhere else, but easily the most propagandized subset of people in society. So when we think
100%.
about this, if World War debate happens to be a really big venue, which I think it will be, and also promoted, and then it happens to be really popular among society, and then men are going to go, women are going to follow naturally, especially since World War debate is curating these topics and just saying, hey, this is the topic of this. Women will naturally gravitate in mass towards this. I'm not calling all women sheep, mind you, by the way, too. But I think that this is a form of propagandization that will also be influential in society. And I think women will gravitate towards this when normally they wouldn't. They would be actually adverse to this. But the popularity of this, and I think probably like the flair of this, the entertainment aspect, women are going to want to be partaking in this, because not to mention this, but where else, and this is another thing that I'll point out too, is if women want to find a good husband that's a patriarch and all this other stuff, yeah, you're going to find him. He's going to be exposed. So, which leads to maybe possibly groupies and stuff like that. Don't do that, by the way. So this is the thing that I'm talking about. But I'm just telling you right now, like, this is what's going to happen. I foresee this happening. And the propagandization that happens, women are going to be propagandized into buying into World War debate, as they should, because they're going to see their viewpoints displayed in real time and to see if this really works out or not. And if they have a contrarian worldview or anything like that, well, I'm pretty sure World War debate is going to say that, hey, this is confrontation, but you're safe here. This is a safe space as far as like your harm and all this, but it's like your ideas aren't safe if they're really faulty. But I think that the popularity of this is going to attract a lot of women. I think that this is good.
Oh, absolutely. And what I was going to say is, to address Aftermath, what he was talking about there, I think in the next couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, but you'll want to pay attention to some of the fight cards coming out. I think, ironically, I think that some of the subjects you're talking about may be discussed in this first event.
All right.
And so just watch those fight cards as they come out. I don't know if you'll agree with these people or not agree with them. But I don't know obviously where they're going to take their conversations, but I think with the debate prompts we're working with, and at least one of the fight cards, I think may address some of those things, or at least acknowledge it.
Where's the best place to because I just started following Word War on Instagram and on Rumble. Where's the best place to keep up with the updates?
X. Right now, it's going to be X.
X. Okay.
We're building out those channels right now, and as we have more from it, obviously some of those are very graphically dominated platforms. So as we have more content, and as we make more announcements, and as we have more promos coming up, then you'll see the Instagrams and the Rumbles and the other things grow with that kind of content. But if you're looking for specific, for one, participating in polls and participating in one of the first place you get the announcements is going to be X.
Got it.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think, matter of fact, I kind of want to show people at home and people in the audience that this is the real deal. And this is where you can follow Word War debates. Hold on real quick. Let me add you to the stage again real quick. This is the Twitter profile. If you guys haven't already, please follow Word War debate on Twitter. This is the page. Click the follow button, and then you'll get all the updates if you want to follow as well too, which is good. But yeah, anybody else have any other questions for Word War debate?
No, man, it was great. It was awesome that you were able to get him, get Word War on. It was awesome meeting you, man, and hopefully we can meet each other in person one day. But yeah, man, I will be definitely looking out for all the fight cards. Following you on X now, so we'll definitely be following.
Yeah, definitely a pleasure meeting you, WWD, or T, I should say. I was already very excited about this. I was already excited about this event, but after learning much more about it, I'm actually even more stoked now. So, yeah, it was a pleasure, brother.
Well, I really appreciate the venue, fellas. We're really excited about what's going on. Hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully we'll see you guys in person too. I'd like to meet you, and it's great. I really appreciate you guys giving me the time and extending your platform. It's really important for guys like you to hear what's going on, because you are our audience. You are the WWD League. And so you and your fans and your watchers and the people who are interested in the topics that you're going to be the driving force behind this league. And so we really appreciate the ability to give you guys some more information and make some announcements and let you guys know kind of how things are working and where they're going. And we'll continue to make appearances or whatever and update people as the project evolves.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I know you said this already, but where can people find you again? Even though if we're saying it again, and it sounds circular, but I really want them to hear this if they're just tuning in. Where can they find you, and who are you?
Sure. We are Word War Debate. We are the newest up and coming premier debate league, being put on by the Enlightenment Network. Our first live experience, our first live event takes place in Atlantic City at the ACX1 Studios. That's January 10th. The tickets are on sale now. If you go to wordwardebate.com, that's wordwardebate.com, you can go there, see what's going on with the event. The site's going to continue to evolve. More information will be put up there as we grow and develop. You can go on there, click buy tickets. The tickets start at $50 up till VIP, which is $200. So they're very affordable. I would recommend people getting them because we will sell out. We're getting close now and we haven't even announced our debaters yet. So I would recommend getting them. And then following us on X at Word War Debate is the other, like, second best at this point until we have more content, the second best way to do it, because that's how you also participate in the polls and also how you show us and help us scout out new talent, new debates, new subject matter, new performers, new avenues. And it's interesting because we're actually including a whole host of this stuff. So a lot of people think it's political. It's not necessarily inherently political. And we've been reached out by so many artists and musicians and other people too who are very interested in being involved, whether that's behind the scenes or whatever it is. We really do want it to be kind of a cultural staple, a new standard set in the debate, sporting, whatever you want to call it, realm. Advocating for free speech, advocating for open discourse, and talking about the things that people really want to talk about. So that's wordwardebate.com. You can get your tickets there or find out more information, or at Word War Debate on X.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful, having you on, and I appreciate the time that you've been able to give us. It's valuable, honestly, because the number one thing that you can't get back is time. And I'm really humbled and grateful that you're able to get on the podcast and kind of like talk about, what's happening instead of us just guessing about what's happening and just having a panel of just, I don't know. I think, and just getting the straight up news from you. I think that this is good. And I also wanted to promote it, and thank you for letting me do that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, boys. I appreciate it. You guys have been great. And hopefully we'll see you in Atlantic City and we'll see who brings the heat. It's going to be great. And make sure you share, and participate, because the faster we grow, the faster we can give you guys what you want. So it's really helpful. I really appreciate it, gentlemen.
Yeah, you hear that, guys? Share this stream if you want, and also subscribe to Kewl V1c, Aftermath, and especially Word War Debate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been fun, man. Thanks for showing up to the stream. I appreciate it. I'll be in contact soon because I really want to get on at some point. So,
perfect.
All right, man.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
So I wanted to kind of give you guys a surprise because, Vic, I know that we were going to just have this panel with us, but I didn't want to tell you guys a surprise. I wanted to make it worth your time, Vic, and also the audience's time, because I know that they watch your panels and they watch you hosting debates. Now that they're doing this, I think, how many debates have you had? You've had Andrew Wilson, and then you had me. Anybody else so far?
Not yet. No, you guys are the only two debates that I've had so far. I'm hoping to do a third soon. There's one guy that I've hit up so far, and I'm just waiting on him to get back at me. So we might have that going on. But other than
Vic,
that,
do you just moderate, or do you also debate?
I recently just started moderating, but I have debated. My first moderated debate was with Wi-Fi Gospel recently on Modern Day Debates, where I teamed with him against Renyald and forgot the other guy's name.
2v2. You did a 2v2 with Wi-Fi? Yeah. iCloud with Wi-Fi. Super. That guy, man. That guy.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is like one of the... He has like the calmest Because I watched a few of his debates, and he has just such a calm demeanor, man. That guy, it's like nothing can stress that guy out, man. That guy's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, you kind of want to be like that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I think I'm kind of almost trigger proof. I mean, some people are going to probably take that as a challenge after saying that. But I don't think I could be triggered in a debate. I get excited. Matter of fact, I think, Vic, I just recently had I think it's like a diving into enemy. What is it? An enemy raid or something like that I just had. And like, I literally just laughed at some of the things that people normally flip tables over, like Christ did, like, and it's like, I think you want to, in a debate, not let people know what this button is, because now that they know what this button is, they can tend to push it because they know where it's at, and they know like, oh, I have his weakness. And like, if you're mad, you can't really think. And like, think about it. If you're mad, only dogs should get mad, really, or people in loony bins, but liberals also, that's another discussion for another day. If you're mad, you can't really think logically. If you're really emotional and the ship is sinking, you're not going to logically be thinking. That's why if I'm driving a car, I might say, shut up, I need to think. There's a reason why we say these things. And even in debates, it's like the last thing you want to be is become more emotional, because now people can know, oh, I got him. Like, I think it's good. And we can practice this, and debate helps you hone this skill as well, too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. The few times where I've actually debated people, that's one of my main things. Like, I've told myself, like, it's like, all right, no matter what you do, don't spurg out. Just keep your cool, because that's the last thing that you want to do, is knowing that like they know that, oh, they've gotten to you, you know what I mean? And then they clip it, I got them to spurg out, So that's always been one of my things, like, don't spurg.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. And just think about this in Atlantic City. Like, let's say somebody spurts out and they're really attacking your family and doing really personal stuff. We have to see each other. Like, you're not going to want to do this. Yeah. So just think that there's going to be like mitigation that's kind of happen there, because this is now the real world. World War debate is like in person. So if I see you and I'm a world class, somebody asked me, they were like, what does Marte do? And that was one of the things, like, what sport did he, compete in, or whatever it is they were saying. Well, I've competed in like 3 world-class sports. I've done World Strongman. I competed in Super League, which was a different sport, and I also competed in the IFBB, which is a sport that Arnold Schwarzenegger started, which is a league. I actually have 2 cards right now that I'll present, and these are like really tough things to get. This is what an IFBB Pro card looks like. Oh, wow. This is hard to get. These are really rare. You have to kill yourself and suffer. And also, there's only 12 of these in the world. This is a Super League Platinum card that they give you when you turn pro. Yeah. And it says founding athlete right there. So I had a Nike contract and all that. And even to the degree of like me, okay, if you guys just allow me a minute to show the audience real quick, this isn't me having an ego fest, by the way. This is just a clarification, right? I'll just say that.
Shit, you don't need even a bigger one.
So this is like, I did strongman events. And like, this is with no belt, no straps, nothing like that. I've done interviews with, that's like me at 230 pounds. Shredded. And of course, I started out at like, what is it? Hold on real quick. I was 150 when I turned pro lightweight. And then I took an off season. I took the off season off, and then got up to 230 pounds in the off season. And this is like a month before. But that's the thing, though, is like a lot of people, they ask, well, what did you do? What is body? All this other stuff. Just understand, like, it's one of the toughest things to do is to discipline yourself when it comes to nutrition. People think it's just drugs and all this other stuff. This is literally what I did was I lifted heavy shit against the best in the world. You're talking about people flying from Sweden and all this to get off a plane, and they're literally twice my size, as big as I was, and I still have to whoop their ass in competitions with just lifting where there's like no weight classes, which was Super League. And then I had to get on stage and compete against the best with when it comes to nutrition and bodybuilding against Germans, Russians, Europeans, Italians, Canadians, and all this. So I represent the US, and I'll be getting back into the arena and battling the best in the world. And this is why I'm gravitating towards World War debate, is because there's going to be a finite time of me competing as a pro athlete, maybe one more year left. And then I'm going to want to do this again because we tend to lose our identities as pro athletes. Maybe Vic can even sympathize with this. Pro wrestlers don't have an identity once they hang the coat up and they're like, well, what do I do now? Because Ric Flair was all I was. And it's like, there's only so much you can do with that. But I think World War Debates is like a venue I can get into that's competitive. I have an identity. I have a fan base and a following as a pro athlete. But also maybe I could deem myself maybe I debate on a professional level. That could be good too. So
Marte, I have a question for you. So you're doing, obviously we see all the content that you've been putting out, all your debates, you know, everything that you've been doing on YouTube and on X. But you're also, like you said, you're wanting to get back into, you know, the competitive bodybuilding. And then you're also going to mechanic school, right? You're doing that as well. So how do you do it, man? Like, how do you organize your day? How do you find the time to put out all this content? And even you, Vic, I mean, because I see you too, man. I remember when I first started seeing you pop up in my feeds, and then I noticed, oh man, this guy's on it. You know, like you're putting out, you know, you're streaming pretty consistently. Like you're reacting to the, you know, some of the bigger interviews that come out, and some of the viral videos. So how do you guys do it? I guess, you know, Marte, especially with you, with like, you know, with everything that you got going on other than, you know, debating and content creation, how do you do it, man? Like, what does your day look like?
Well, I'm going to deflect to Vic right now because he's here and he's a guest on my platform. Vic's done an amazing job. I'm not speaking for you, Vic. I'm going to let you talk in just a second, but just my observation. Not only has Vic done an amazing job, but this is going to allude to what I talked about. I'd like to get some Vic lore from this discussion before our time's up, because I want to find out what his purpose was, like why he got into streaming, like what made him become interested in doing debates and things like that. Because I know that now, I believe from what because now I can ask the horse's mouth and just get it straight from you. I understand that you're doing streaming full time. Like, how did you do this? And how did you get in the position of having to do that? Because I'm over here juggling, like I'm doing like school full time. I'm working like 60 hours a week. And mind you, because Aftermath, I heard you're doing like some DoorDash stuff. I'm doing like Amazon delivery right now just to get through school, which is crazy. And then still training at the gym and then still trying to do debates at the same time. I'm juggling a lot. The question hurt when I heard it from you. Like it already hurt me already, but I want to deflect from Vic and obfuscate, go to Vic and say, what was your purpose and how do you do this?
My purpose, I don't know. I've always had an interest just in doing it, like doing YouTube and everything. I've always had the I've kind of always had the desire to kind of entertain, I guess, you know, and something I kind of realized recently. I just kind of always had that desire to just be an entertainer. And so in terms of like YouTube stuff, like I got into politics like during like 10 years ago or so, like Gamergate. And Gamergate, that's when the feminist stuff was showing up. Like that's when it was really starting to become prominent, and then it showed how the media was biased toward people that went against this narrative, you know. And so that really interested me. And then so I would do YouTube videos, but kind of just like whenever I had time. And so I wasn't really consistent. I was just like whatever I had time. And so then I really kind of got more into it, especially when Donald Trump was running, and I got really more passionate and really into it. And so, you know, that's when around that time I also stopped being a wrestling promoter, because I was like, I was just like, I'm not going to do this anymore. It wasn't making money anymore, you know? So I quit, and then I started my family pretty much. And then I was just busy doing family stuff. And then I would kind of just do YouTube whenever I had time, pretty much. And then it was just one of those things where it's like I always wanted to make money doing this. And so because I always wanted to do this, you know, and I wanted to make money doing it. So I'm gonna be a little honest here. Like a year ago, what happened is like I want to make money doing this, and I actually invested like some money into joining kind of like a creator program that kind of teaches you how to kind of build yourself on YouTube, you know, like how to deal with the algorithm and stuff like that, keywords, titles, how to build your name up, you know. And I joined that program, and in that first month, I saw some pretty big success, like immediate success.
Wow.
And that was enough. Like I got like I've always been wanting to monetize. After joining that program, within 2 weeks, I became monetized. And then I had a really good first month, and I had an even better second month, and then I had a better next month. And while I'm not making as much money as I was when I first started, then that really was a good starting point. So I started doing this full time. And so I just really am passionate about expressing my views. Before I was just doing politics, but politics kind of started, in terms of YouTube wise, started dying out a little bit. Like in terms of wasn't really getting a lot of like views. So I just kind of started looking at other things. And then I found Andrew Wilson, and I found Andrew Wilson because he did some political stuff. And so I started watching him, and I was just like, I really liked what he had to say. And he was a really good debater, and he made some great points that I personally never thought about before. Like I never thought about this stuff. And I was like, holy shit. Like if other people would see this, like imagine how different culture could be and how things could be, because it's just some of these things, like not just me, but vast majority of people, I don't think ever thought of these things before. I don't think they've ever thought of why they feel the way that they do, you know? And so that's when I got more passionate about that, what led me into debates. And Andrew Wilson was kind of like my introduction to the debate scene, you know? And that's how I found like you, Marte, because you've teamed with Andrew before a few times. And then, you know, you've also done your own debates. That's how I found Jim Bob. That's how I found like Jay Dyer, Rob Knorr, and then just vast other debates. And I was like, dude, this debate stuff, the debate scene is like really good stuff. And so, you know, luckily, like I said, I don't have to worry. I'm very fortunate and blessed. I don't have to worry about doing a full-time job. The only thing I got to actually do is just like worry about watching my daughter and stuff like that, you know? And so, and taking care of, you know, the kids and stuff. And sometimes, and so I'm very fortunate about that. And so that's what's allowed me to kind of stream like 3 hours, 5 days a week and put out videos and stuff. And so, I just really always wanted to entertain, and I'm really am passionate about these views. And I really think that culture is in horrible shape right now. Like it's just horrible. And anything that I could do to try to kind of influence culture, that's what I want to do. And so I'm trying to debate. I don't think I'm really a great debater yet, but I'm trying to get out there. Same with moderating. And if I could entertain people at the same time getting a message out there, well, that's what I want to do.
I think you can debate. I think I see that there, even though like I was watching the Wi-Fi gospel, what I think you were doing was sniping pretty good. It's really good when you can have somebody in the background, which is like, but you also have to understand that if somebody's really good, it's hard to like get in front of them, especially if they have good points. I noticed when Andrew Wilson was debating, I like liken myself to a speed bump because I'm like, well, I could interject, but I'm going to slow him down. Like we can have this mindset of like, you know, I want to say something and I think I'm good too, but Andrew Wilson is like S tier. So when I get into this, it's like, here's one thing that you said, and I agree with, you want to be entertaining. No, you are entertaining. Matter of fact, one of the chatters brings up a good point. When Vic does impersonations, it cracks me up, but I do have a request right now. So I have a request. Can you do the First Amender rat uterus impression? I gotta hear this.
The rat uterus where he's, man, sometimes with the impression, it's hard for me to do it. Like I have to kind of just be like,
oh yeah, okay,
in order to do it. You know,
impressions, but it's hilarious when you do it.
Yeah, the impression, man. I don't even remember what it was, but just him going off on his whole like he was debating you, and he's like, yeah, but see, look, and he brought out this book, and he's like, look at this is the rat uterus and stuff, and it's like, where did he even get this book? You know, and it's like, yeah, see here, this is how the rat uteruses work, Marte, and that is why you have to allow transgenderism because look at my rat uteruses. And it's just like, what is
you just did it? Thank you. That's what I wanted. That made my whole night, Vic. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That's why I
Like
tune in. That literally, that's why I tune in, because when you said that, I was literally dying laughing. I never dropped my phone so quick because I was laughing so hard. Like when I saw this, I was like, well, this is why people tune into Vic. The reason why they tune into you is because there's a genuine authenticity to like your humor, your candor, the way you conduct yourself on camera. It's genuine and it doesn't look forced or just some manufactured forced thing that you could see on camera of you just like reciting some script out there. You're just being you. And I like that. That's why I tune in, because your commentary is really good. And if your commentary is really good, I think that debate can be adjacent to that in some degree, because debate is just commentary towards somebody else's commentary, whether or not it's logic or something else. A matter of fact, I want to offer a proposition to you. If you would like to do a debate with me against some scumbags in the future, and if you're on board with that, I'd love to have you on board as far as like teaming up against these people. And I think that that's really good. I can see this in the future. That'd be great. Also, Aftermath too. That'd be good. I'd also, which also brings up this, the reason why we're here, we're gathered here today, gentlemen. Vic hosts debates, Aftermath, and you had mentioned something like, you know, in the future, like, or in the past, you had said in a video, I watched a video, you had responded, and I appreciate, I'm very humbled by your words. It's very nice of you to say, man, I appreciate all the kind gestures and words that you've said. But one thing you said was like, you have like kind of like something towards bodybuilding that you want to say that it rubs you in a bad way. But I was like, if your commentary is like this, maybe we can then have a debate on Vic's channel over it, even if it's like devil's advocate or something like that. I'm open to that if Vic's open to that. I don't know what it is, but I'm just maybe, I don't want to sound presumptuous, but I'm just saying.
I mean, it's something, yeah, like it's not even anything that I'm not like anti bodybuilding. It's just, okay, you want to know, it's funny. You know who kind of really started turning, because I've always been, bodybuilding has always been, you know, like as a kid growing up, I've always, you know, like starting with like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is always, you know, like anybody who grew up in like the 80s, 90s, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is, you know, going to be like one of your idols. And so I've always, you know, liked bodybuilding, you know, from that aspect. And then, you know, even like, you know, 10, 15 years ago, like, you know, when YouTube really started becoming like the main platform to like get content, I'd watch all these bodybuilders. I remember one time I actually went vegan for like several months. I had to do a vegan diet. And one of the things that I
go ahead.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked.
Well, he said he had to, so I was like,
yeah, I had to.
I was gonna say gay, but then you said
health reasons. Anyway, so I went completely vegan for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 months. And one of the things that I would do, I remember this so well, one of the things I would do to kind of help me get through it is I would go on YouTube and I would go to like bodybuilders channels and I would watch them like eat. I'd literally watch them like, and it's such a weird thing, but like now, like, I mean, YouTube was filled with that kind of content where like literally people will like be eating and you just like watch them eat. But that was one of the things I did was I'd go, this is like probably 7, 8 years ago.
You talking about like mukbangs, like that stuff?
What's that?
You're talking about like mukbangs?
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Is that what they call it, Nick?
Yeah, mukbangs. It's just where they're videos where people just eat insane amounts of food. Like they'll have an insane amount of food in front of them and they're just eating.
I've watched that kind of content too, but I remember back then that was one thing I would do is I would just like go to these bodybuilders channels and just like, you know, because bodybuilders are like, you know, like they'll all the, you know, like a lot of the pros have their own channels, right? Where it's not like a debate channel, right? Not like what Marte does, but it's like about their bodybuilding career. And so they, you know, they go over their food prep and like, I'd say they'll be literally just sitting there watching some bodybuilder eat steak because I couldn't have steak or meat or anything like that. And so and like I said in the video, Marte, you know, bodybuilders, you guys are hands down probably the most disciplined people because you have to be with that sport.
Yeah.
But one of the things, like, you guys know Larry Wheels, right? Marte, do you know Larry Wheels?
Oh man.
That guy.
Go ahead.
I don't know if like, so he seems like a chill guy, right? But because I see all these clips of him. Okay, like he's like this big guy. Obviously, he's a big guy. He's a bodybuilder, right? And like he's always like, people always say he's like one of the strongest guys in the world. But then I've watched clips of him where like all that muscle doesn't really seems to do anything. Cause like there's this one clip where he's with this one guy where it's like he's like a Middle Eastern like weight thing where you guys might have seen it where they have the two like weighted bats and it's like this whole thing they do. And like he couldn't do that. He couldn't like, you know, you got all these muscles, but he couldn't like, you know, stabilize himself. And then I've seen him like lose like an arm wrestling competition with like an arm wrestler. And like I've seen videos of him where he couldn't get through like this it was like a military like trench type thing where he had like trouble getting through it. And I'm like, man, you got all this muscle and you got all this thing, but it's like in like when you set it to like a practical something practical, it doesn't help you out. So I was like, you know, like you're doing. And the other thing with like bodybuilding, Marte, would you say that, because obviously you did that like years ago, like, you know, when you were younger as well, like you got into bodybuilding when you were a lot younger. But that was, I'm assuming, before your journey to like Christ and to orthodoxy, right?
Yeah, I got into bodybuilding before that. I was actually extremely spiritual. I was like Reiki. I was a grandmaster in right-hand Reiki. I was a yoga instructor. I did breath work with people like for 5 years. I'm ashamed of this. It's almost like me telling people like you did, I was a vegan. Like, it's the same shit. So here's the thing that I'll say. When you talk about people not being strong because they have a lot of muscle and all this, I was actually doing interviews by people like Jay Jung, who owns a massive empire in Vegas when it comes to gyms, things like this. I've been around the world, been interviewed by people from Italy, publications, all this other stuff. And I've been asked about my past. People brought it up. I ran track in college. I redshirted at a different university for wrestling. I've done all this. So when it came to sports, I was like the Swiss Army knife of like athletics. So I've been doing this for a very long time. And it's like, so here's the thing about this. It's all about your mindset. I can have a lot of muscle and my mindset is almost like this. If Vic was my coach and he told me to eat dog shit on the side of the road to get lean and 2% body fat to destroy the competition, I would do that because all I thought about, like my midnight dream was to destroy the competition and reign supreme when it came to American athletics. Like I was almost psycho to the point to where I was crazy. Like I was doing this crazy madman talk. And this is where you get into the arena of like talking like Muhammad Ali was. Like this guy sounds like a madman, but really there's kind of like a genius to this where if you think that you can literally run through a wall because your coach told you could do this, you're actually going to try this. Well, I mean, we're on the cusp of like there's madness to the point of like we're doing things and denying our flesh and dieting so hard that almost to where the person who won the competition dieted the hardest without dying. That's usually who wins. So if you have this mentality, you can branch this over into debate and every other branch of life. Like you can use this methodology, this mindset, and bridge this over. What I did was I actually tore my bicep off of the bone right here. I have this mark right here. I was lifting the back end of a car during a strength competition, and I heard a loud pop. Well, guess what happened? I don't care. Popped the other one off the bone and got it surgically put on there too. Went through colitis and all this other stuff. Like I would die to kill my opponent. Like I'm like the guy that straps a bomb to his chest, goes into a building. Like, yeah, I'm going to pass away too, but I'm taking all 50 of you with me. Like that's the mindset that I have as an athlete. And a lot of people don't understand this. Like what you're talking about is like people who just look strong, but aren't really strong. Well, the strength that I have is just right here. And it's like, they don't understand what they're up against. So when I'm doing a debate against somebody, this is why I also have the mantra, and Vic's probably heard this before, I don't run from anybody. My enemies, like I'll do an enemy invasion that he saw, things like this. Like what's the worst that's going to happen? You pass out before you die. It's not going to be the most gruesome thing ever. And plus we're online. What's the worst that's going to happen? They tell you no in a debate. They call you bad things. Like, so as an athlete, I carry such an extreme mentality that if I do a debate on Vic's channel and I eviscerate somebody or I'm being eviscerated by their logic, like it's not really that bad. But a lot of people are afraid of debates. They run from this. You're talking to somebody who was on the borderline cusp of being a madman at one point of his life in athletics, still am to some degree, but I'm carrying this over in debate and I'm imbuing logic in here too. So hopefully that answers your question to some degree.
No, it does. Yeah. That and that makes sense. You know, when you put it like that, that totally makes sense. It's just, and you know, even when I said that, I mean, it wasn't like it was just kind of like a side, you know, I mean, it wasn't like I said, bodybuilding, you have to have tremendous amount of respect for, even if you don't like the sport, like you can't deny that, you know, you bodybuilders, man, you guys just like, and you guys really are kind of, from my understanding, bodybuilders, like the old school bodybuilders, when it came to like the all the I don't know, can I say steroids? Like I don't know how like steroids.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, steroids. You know, like from my understanding, like the 70s, you know, like the 80s, that era, those guys were just like, they had no idea what they were taking. Like when it got to the point where they wanted to start taking, you know, the steroids. Because that's the other misconception I know that a lot of people have, is that they just think the bodybuilders, they just do steroids and then they're jacked. It's like, well, no, like you have to get to the peak of your natural physical ability, like the absolute peak, before you even start with the steroids, from my understanding. So it's not like, oh, you just inject yourself with some steroids and then the next day you look like Marte.
I had a detractor recently come into my chat. Like I don't want to say names, so I don't want to promote wrong think or even people sometimes, or even their platforms. But this person said, you did steroids, and they're accusing me of all this other stuff. And I pointed it out to them, and Vic, and probably I'm going to bring Vic into this, is a hypothetical. Let's say that Vic, in this is like, I'm going to conflate debate and all this together. Let's say that Vic found out that I used ChatGPT or Grok during a debate. Even if I use performance enhancing AI or something in a debate, there's a delay that happens. And in real time, your responses are going to be slowed down, because no matter how much AI, you still have to type it out. That's also delay. You have to wait for the response. It's also delay. Not only are you like giving somebody else more time to think about a response, you're giving up so much ground too. Recently discovered that using Grok in a debate, by the way, too, guys. Right. So anyways, and then this is the other thing too, is like, if I was to tell Vic, and Vic was telling me, you're using a lot of steroids and drugs and all this other stuff, I can even concede that and say, yeah, I use testosterone or whatever. But let's say that we dropped a shipment off at everybody's door with like $5,000 worth of steroids. There would only still be less than 1% of the population turn pro, because at the end of the day, genetics and hard work are the only thing that are going to really make you a pro athlete, because there's still, even if I give everybody Grok and ChatGPT, there's only going to be 1% of the cream of the crop on top that are good at debates, because they're going to be frustrated with the lag, and they're going to turn this off and say, you know what, I have to revert to my normal skills because I'm in a dogfight right now. And that's what happens with bodybuilding as well too. I think a lot of this, if you're talking about the 1%ers and you get to the rarities of the people that are exceptional in sports, like me, other people or whatever, who have this natural gift and maybe genetics or whatever, all that gets exposed. Because if you're not a hard worker, if you're in the WWE and you don't have a inkling or you're not really good at wrestling or theatrics or anything, all that gets exposed. And Vic can tell you about this online, because you don't have the foresight to think, okay, I don't know how to promote myself, even though I have a promoter named Vic. Like, I need to still deliver no matter what. And this needs to be natural sometimes. And, you have to have the talent, man, regardless of steroids, Grok, or all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially with steroids, it's not like you just inject it and then you just grow muscles. Like, you still got to work out, and you still got to like eat well and everything, So yeah, even with the steroids, it still takes a lot of work
and a lot of time, a lot of freaking time. No social life. I had no social life to turn pro.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you're talking about hard dates and stuff like that. I remember on a date, because I was in the off season and I had to put on a ton of weight. Like, you're eating so much. Like, you ever ate till your throat closed before? Well,
Marte? Is that me? Is this me?
I think we might have. He froze up. Can you hear me? Cool.
Marte froze. I could hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, he froze up.
His throat closed up.
Yeah,
right as he was talking.
I got to check out that debate you guys did. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's on my channel. It's on Wi-Fi's channel, and it's also on Modern Day Debates channel. It's me. It's Kewl Vic, Wi-Fi Gospel versus Rinyald, and man, I forgot that other kid's name. It was funny because it was like he's like a young looking kid. Like, he's probably like 18, 19 years old, but he looks like he was 12. And at one point, though, like, he goes like, "Oh, you got to calm down, little bro." Yeah, I was like, "You're calling me little bro?" Like, dude, I'm like a freaking 41-year-old man. You're like a freaking 12-year-old. Like, what are you doing? But
yeah, and keep in mind too, if you ever I'm gonna start looking for some people, maybe not, maybe a little bit more on my caliber, my level, just maybe like smaller debaters or people that are wanting to get into debating, and but if you come across anybody, just know, like, I'm more than willing to come on your channel and debate anybody, regardless of what they want. There he is.
Good
Hey,
Lord,
welcome
what
back.
the hell happened? Like, my internet cut off for a second. Thankfully, the chat is still here. Yeah, I took this large pizza. I know you guys were continuing without me. Kudos to you guys for maintaining your composure within my absence.
You
I appreciate it.
you figured you'd be right back.
I
Yeah.
took a large pizza and I folded it in half, put ranch in there and slid a cheeseburger in there and rolled it up and made a pizza burrito and ate it in front of my date. I totally forgot I was on a date for 2 seconds because I was like, oh, crap, I have to be this much more weight in the off season to do this. And then I just got back into reality because she told me that is so disgusting. She said, that's effing disgusting. And I said, what are you talking about? Wiping my mouth with ranch and stuff, because I was so focused. It was my midnight dream to turn pro because I was reading magazines before we had social media and all this other. I wanted to be a pro athlete, and it was such a strong desire. I was like, every waking moment I had to go to the gym, had to train, couldn't miss a meal, had to get my protein right and my macros, all this other stuff. And I was like so strict about this. It was like damn near a religion, but people don't understand this. Like it screwed up my social life, and my dating experiences suck too because of that. It's like, it just sucks, but just understand that, if you can have all the steroids in the world, all the grok, chat GPT, cheating gets exposed when it comes to like the premier cream of the crop, the people with talent. They're going to excel no matter how much push you have, how much money, funding, everything else. I mean, look at Rocky was a good example. The guy, I Must Break You. What happened to him? He had all the funding, all the scientists behind him, everything else.
Yeah.
Rocky just had tree trunks and stuff, whooped his ass.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good example of that. Is not even a hypothetical. We all seen the movie, and that inspired all of us to have a stronger work ethic, to actually run towards opposition instead of away from the gunfire. And that's what debates do. Like, is now that Vic's a moderator, I'm looking for opposition. And like I said, go to Threads. That's a liberal cesspool. I'll pull somebody next week and just say, I have another debate. Vic, can you moderate this? And he'll be like, yeah, let's do it. But we need to actually pull these people out of these cesspools and fight them. I didn't even think about Threads until you told me earlier today, Marte, but I also started a Blue Skies account.
Oh,
Blue Skies.
Oh man, talk about a cesspool.
Dude.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go up on there. I'm gonna get on Threads and go on Blue Skies and see if I can find some people that are willing to come on, and some leftists that are willing to come on and go at it. So it's good to know that I got Vic, you're willing to moderate and all that. So that's really cool. Marte, man, unfortunately I gotta start wrapping it up here pretty soon. I know we probably didn't get to everything.
Yeah, it's okay. We got like 6 minutes. So I'm be honest with you, Vic, and everybody else. I got like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe like 15. Yeah. But I
got like 6 minutes too. Yeah. So
yeah, 6 minutes. Okay. I will say this real quick before we bounce and wrap it up. I thoroughly appreciate both you gentlemen getting on board. I heard that you had like some qualms against bodybuilding, and I automatically thought debater mode. I was like, oh, good. Maybe I can have like somebody to debate, and then I have a moderator here listening. So really, this was kind of like a setup, but not to be ambush. But I wanted to I'm always scouting for new debates and stuff like that. So Aftermath, if you want to be even devil's advocate, I played devil's advocate as like a pro red pill against a guy named Mo Rebuttal. But I think also another thing too is also be your own scout when it comes to debates. When I was on She Who Shall Not Be Named channels, I went ahead and went to Threads and pulled people left and right. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably the recruiter of the decade for your channel because I can pull up liberals left and right. But here's the thing you want to tell them is like, don't debate them on their platform and exhaust all your resources. Say, no, let's have this discussion and try to be as nice as possible. I know we hate that word nice, but try to be as nice to liberals possible and less threatening and say, no, they can attack you. Don't attack them back. Don't scare the deer off. Have the deer come into the arena so that way they can be prey. Get them that far, because a lot of people get weeded out when you say, I'm going to destroy you when you show. No, don't have that jargon, because they're like, oh, you're going to do that. And then you get into another meta debate. No, be as nice. God, I have vomit in my throat that I had to catch from just saying this. Be as nice as you can to these people and try to goad them into that arena, so that way now they're stuck. Now they're dealing with the predator, and it's like, try to recruit as much as possible. That's always a good venue, but vet as much as possible too, because you don't need people demonetizing channels for doing stupid stuff. Have them understand that these are the rules. Be respectful. I'm not going to attack you personally. All this other stuff, I'll have a conversation with you off camera, but yeah, for sure.
I think there's definitely, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that there could be a debate angle with the bodybuilding thing. I'm trying to think of, like, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of like a premise, like maybe,
I can tell you five.
I don't know, like maybe like bodybuilding. I don't know. And again, like, we could do like the devil's advocate thing, where either of us argue from either side of, like, I don't know, maybe bodybuilding from a young age is not good for young men or something like this, something like that. But I think that there's definitely,
Vic, we got 3 minutes before you set up this debate prompt for your channel. Let's go. Let's epping go, team.
Bodybuilding is harmful to young men. Something
I've heard
that.
I've heard premises as far as like bodybuilding's gay. We can debate that it's not gay.
Yeah.
We can debate that, all drugs should be legal in bodybuilding or even sports. It doesn't even have to be bodybuilding. It could be sports.
Yeah.
It could be something to the degree of bodybuilding gives a bad self-image and leads to bad thoughts when it comes to this. Bodybuilding is fake. Like, there's so much red meat when it comes to bodybuilding that we can pick apart. And then, not to mention that, but bodybuilding is not masculine, or bodybuilding is masculine in the society. And just think about this. You're changing the natural structure of something that once was. Isn't masculinity inherently just hard work and originality instead of forced conduct upon oneself and integration into seeking approval from other men or women and things like that? Like, there's so many avenues that we can discuss as far as bodybuilding. And I can play devil's advocate on both sides. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. Let's get you started, Aftermath. Yes, I am pushing you to do a debate on Vic's channel. And
100%.
let's see if we can have this come to fruition. I'll discuss this off camera with you, and we can come up with a prompt, and it'll be entertaining as usual.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, you hear that,
cool,
Vic?
man. It was super nice to finally meet you, man. I'm glad we got to collab, and hopefully, I definitely am down to set up a first debate on your channel, and kind of take it from there, man. And Marte, as always, man, you're the man. You set this whole thing up, man. I appreciate it. So, this was awesome. And we went for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just understand, Aftermath. We're going to be friends outside of this, but once that cage closes, I'm using Vic's speak right now, something he's familiar with. Once that cage closes,
gloves off,
and there's nobody else in the ring, and the crowd is cheering. Yes, gloves off. You're probably the worst enemy ever. You killed my father, and I have to seek revenge. All this other stuff, but when it comes to a logical sense, that's how it has to be. The only way that I can embolden my message or even your drive to debate is actually to endure some hardship. But I think that you have to encounter some strife, and I'm going to be the one to do this, and I think it's going to be entertaining. But just understand at the heart of this, I don't take anything personal from destroying you, but it's got to go down on Vic's channel, and it's going to let's fight.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
There you go, Vic. Not only did I give you something to like a parting gift, Vic, by the way, from showing up, and I gave your viewers some intel on World War debate. Hopefully this was edifying to you and your audience as well, too, and worth your time.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it was definitely worth my time. Yeah, like you said, World War debate. I keep wanting to call it World War.
Kind of World War,
debate. Yeah.
Tongue twister, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Word War debate. We learned a lot about that, and yes, now it looks like we have a debate set up. So, there'll be more news to come on that.
Yeah, good stuff. Also, Aftermath. Before we leave, do you have any other comments, questions, or even criticisms?
No, man, this was absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to man. I'm looking forward to World War and see how that all unfolds. I'm looking forward to setting up another debate. An actual moderated debate this time. It'd be nice to get like an actual formal, not necessarily formal, but a moderated debate. pick a good prompt, and hopefully I'll have some time to like prepare for it and just get it going, man. I just want to debate, man. I just want to combat. So I just want to talk and it's funny, man. Like when I'm not online, when I'm not making content, when I'm not streaming, I'm constantly talking to myself. I'm constantly like just literally talking to myself and like saying all these monologues, and I'm like, yeah. And then I get online and I'm just like, it all went so well when I was talking to myself in my car, and this monologue went so well and I worded it perfectly, and it was a mic drop moment. But then I go live and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So
that's what happens in competition, and that's what happens in fights. That's what I'm talking about, like weeding people out. Word War Debate is going to naturally do this. If you think you're a badass and you get on stage, well, we're going to see the real deal and what's happening. Yeah. So since you and I'm going to say this because it's like an affirmation that I'm making for certain, because you did say that, and we have a recording of you saying this. We will be debating on Vic's channel. And matter of fact, Aftermath, I'm going to try to pick a prompt or a topic that you actually like. I don't want you to play devil's advocate. It's like, I kind of want to just experiment with this. No, I want you to. Yeah. I want it to be a topic that you actually kind of can dig your feet into and say, you know what, I kind of believe this, or even truly believe this, because it's going to be even better if you really hold a position and you have a firm belief. And I'm going to try to change the audience's mind, and maybe even yours too at the same time. I think that'll be even better if it's more real. I don't want it to be a fake fight, like, oh, we're just going to play fight with this debate. No exhibition. No exhibition you got, bro. Like, it needs to be hard.
No exhibition debates. We'll full on blood sport.
Hard punches.
Full contact. Yes, I'm down.
Okay, you hear that, Vic? So not only did we promote a future fight that's happening right now, but we also had two promoters. We had Kewl Vic, who still is a promoter, regardless if he thinks so or not. It may not just be in wrestling, but now it's through debate. And we had Word War Debate as well, too. So this fight will be happening. I'll go ahead and hit you with a couple prompts, and we'll agree on something, Aftermath, and we will have a debate. I wish you good luck in the arena with me.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate. I'm going to need all the luck I can have. So
you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, man.
All right. So Aftermath, real quick, and Vic, tell people where they can find you and who you are.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Oh yeah, I'm. You can find me The Aftermath. My YouTube channel is The Aftermath. And if you type in The Aftermath _official, because The Aftermath is such a generic name. You type in Aftermath on YouTube, you're gonna get a million different searches. But yeah, The Aftermath, and then you can find me on X. I'm Covert Patriarch on X, and then you can find my channel on. If you just go to my YouTube, if you're able to find my YouTube channel, all of my links will be on my YouTube channel. So,
all right, Vic. Who are you and where can they find you?
I am Kewl Vic. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Kewl Vic, Kewl V1c. If you search that, my channel will pop up. And then you can find me also on X. I'm also on Rumble, Instagram. I'm on a whole bunch of stuff. If you go on a platform, type in Kewl Vic. If I pop up, then there you go. But I'm mostly on YouTube. Like I said, I upload videos pretty much every single day, and then I live stream Mondays through Fridays. So, yeah, there you go. That's about it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It was a pleasure having you gentlemen on, and also Word War Debate. If you're watching, I saw you in the chat. Everybody else that was on,
you're muted.
He muted himself. You muted Marte. There you go.
You guys can hear me now. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys can follow, like, and subscribe and share Vic's content and also my content as well too. Follow Aftermath. He's a new up and coming debater. We're going to see about that, by the way, pretty soon. We're going to test his mettle. I appreciate both you gentlemen showing up. This has been the first episode of Woke Autopsy. Came up with that name myself. Hopefully you guys like this because it's literally what's happening right now. Yeah, very base content. Vic, hopefully I can have you on as a co-host for a future episode. We are going to have crazy big pretty big name guests. I'm going to try to have more big name guests on. I consider World War Debate a pretty big guest in our eyes when it comes to the future debate and everything else. I'll talk to you off screen, and we'll try to figure out another episode and another collab. These collabs are good. Aftermath, it's been a pleasure for us to host you on this panel, and Christ is God. I'll also leave you guys words. Yeah. So you guys take care, and we are out.
All right.
Talk to you guys.
Yep.
See you later, guys.